So the sun is starting to glow through the stained glass windows of the four elders there. You guys have had your long rest and should be pretty recharged. Now we are still adhering to that one set of hit dice per day, so I don't know if everybody's been keeping track of that when they're healing. You get your total hit dice over the course of a day that you can use as many as you want on a short rest, and then you get that recharged after a long rest.
But we also have to use the hit dice for long rest?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long rest is the only thing that can recharge the total hit dice you can use per day, but then you can use those hit dice after a short rest.
Cool. All right. Yep, I'm all caught up.
Okay. Yeah. So somehow you made it through the night without anything creeping into your chamber, despite there being an open portal in this room. Everyone gets up and I guess gets your gear together, get ready for your next big day.
Yes. Well, folks, what is our plan? The king is very receptive to us recently.
What I need to do?
What were we talking about last week? It was either we have to figure out there's a couple more doppelgangers.
No, he told us to go on and move on up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Give us a pat on the back and send us on our way.
Well, he said he can't send us, but we have to talk to his guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, are we gonna try? Are we gonna try to find the two rhyming guys' rhyming name guys before we leave? Well, the one guy is the guy we have to find, but the other guy is the old man.
Bond?
Jabuzi?
The former advisor?
Yeah,
Jabuzi?
not the former advisor, yeah, Jabuzi, like the guy who was part of the other adventuring party.
That's Jaboosh. Kabusi is the Jan envoy to between the Jinn Kings and Ozimus. And Kabusi is who the king was going to arrange for you to talk to. Kabusi is the guy you have to get past to get into the upper level beyond this.
Yep.
Were we supposed to find Dubon, or did I make that up?
No, it was mentioned.
Dubon was mentioned, but we never came across him. I mean, it's up to y'all if y'all want to.
Was the king gonna send us to Kabusi now? Was he gonna open a door for us so that would happen, or
I think he
opened doors?
us what we wanted to do, and we were deciding what we were going to do, if I'm not mistaken.
Because we're still on.
He said they just wanted to just like go down to the servants' quarters and hang out for the rest of our lives if we wanted to.
I don't know about that one. I'm sure somebody started poisoning us.
I mean, out of game, I'm sure Leopoldo, part of him, would love to do that and just spend the rest of his time with Luza and like Ruby and just enjoying the stuff down there, but the adventure part of him definitely wants to push on. So, I mean, definitely not staying behind, but are we going to stay here and try to suss out these couple guys, or out of game, do we want to see what the next chapter is like?
I mean, I'm completely torn.
Out of game, right? what level are we all caught up to our level?
I'm 7.
I'm at 7 as well. Or sorry, 6.
6.
Yeah.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. Here's the fun part about that is remember when we moved up before we were able to level, and we were just getting the shit knocked out of us the whole time.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I
We should
kind of
finish this
don't want that to
off
happen.
and get that level. Remember that big year kicking the shit out of us?
I
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. That's why I wanted to just talk about like what we wanted to do exactly, because I mean my character could be pulled in any direction right now. He has a good idea for come and going or staying. Like he can do whatever. But
Laura is along for the ride. She's got her own dealy bops on her end, but it's relatively passive.
all right, so on this level here, we still have a couple of doppelgangers that are on the loose, and we have to find this one guy.
And two guys. Find out what happened to the king's most trusted aide that he turned a blind eye to, and the other adventuring free guy.
Oh, right. Yeah, so... And I mean, I think the doppelgangers will pop up from time to time. I don't think we should focus on them. I think we should focus on the real people.
Yes.
So you guys, you guys are all, I guess, like maybe sitting around one of those two tables here in the barracks.
Yeah.
Got your backpacks ready to go, sitting up on the table, drinking some morning water, discussing all this.
Yep.
Okay. The closed door to this chamber, the handle turns and it creaks open, and a guard steps into the chamber. And he says, "Oh, good. You didn't die in the night. The king will be pleased to hear. We are gathering for breakfast now."
Ooh, are we gonna have more of those nice pancakes?
I don't think so this morning. Unfortunately, I did not see them laid out for us.
Damn, I really like those pancakes.
Everyone
Give me
loves
the
them.
recipe to those pancakes.
Our dear Saint Alfonso, he makes a mean pancake.
Damn straight he does.
All right then. Well, we'll be gathering in the main hall. I'm sure you have a key.
Yes. We do? Guys, we do?
Yep.
Yes.
I haven't seen any keys.
And he excuses himself back through the door he came from. He leaves the door open.
All right, well... Breakfast. Leo's always hungry.
All right, so you guys come back into the main hall. It is quite crowded this morning with folks, servants, nobility, all gathered around. The king is seated at the table. God, does he have anybody close to him left? He has Han. Han is seated to his left. The table to his right is empty. He doesn't see you at first as he's greeting some of the other folks gathering here. You guys want to make yourselves at home somewhere? Okay. The fountain attendant is nearby. Good morning to whoever of you steps up first to the table. There is room for all of us, especially you heroes. So the king looks over and sees the four of you. He says, our heroes have awakened. And let me get some charisma saves from everybody.
I need something I'm actually good at. See if the dice go that way.
Top of the morning to you, King. Oh man, that's not something I'm great at. Oh, hey.
Wow.
Top of the morning indeed.
Yeah, I wasn't great either. But I got 16.
He motions towards the chair to his right, and he says, "I have kept a table open, or a seat for one of you heroes, and let's see. How about our fine ambassador from the Fey world? Join me, would you, ma'am, at my side?"
Absolutely, Your Majesty.
Leo will stand up when she gets up from the table at courtesy.
She's in full court dress for this situation.
All right, nice. Okay, so there's a ting-ting on one of the candelabras, and from over here on this side of the room, a little halfling, well, I say, yeah, he's a little halfling, an old halfling, stands up onto the table, and you see he has a big, tall bishop's hat and very nice robes. You've seen him around before. You've seen him in here. And he says his apologies. He says that our guards are simply stretched too thin for me to make it back to the royal bakery for this morning's pancakes. I'm afraid we will have to eat from what our servants have brought up from the lower quarters. And everyone's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, no pancakes.
I really like those pancakes.
And so the little halfling helps himself back down off the table. Okay.
I'll whisper into Icky's mind, you're going to have to taste test this if it's coming from the lower quarters.
And so in
That's what I whispered back.
In through this door comes a parade of servants carrying plates, accompanied by guards, and you'll even catch a glimpse of Velocindim fly by as he does his best to monitor the interior of the castle from outside. He'll swoop around. Strangely, he never appears in these windows. The sound of the crowds cheering outside, of course, is always present through these windows. And so the food begins to be brought out and set at everyone's table. Wine and mead and water is poured, and you guys can dig into your breakfast. The king will begin to sort of call off a state of affairs from his various heads of staff. And so you can get a better idea of what all is going on at the time. So they are kind of trying to return to life as normal. There's the lower keep is backed up with guests who are here to see the king. They've brought tribute to him from across many realms, and quite a few of them are getting very anxious. This is gosh, he has lost all of his, like, this would normally be the thing that also would tell him, like, who's here to see him. But now, of course, Aso has been revealed to be a doppelganger and is missing now. Who knows if you killed him or not? Oh well, actually, that's part of it. The king and his guards in Han spent some time questioning some of the doppelgangers that you captured before putting them to their deaths. They got a few they're saving to do a ceremonial hanging in the lower keep with. A few died during interrogation. And so they had four? Yeah, they had 4 live doppelgangers and 1 dead one. So 2 of them died in interrogation, and 2 of them have been put away for to be hung over the lower keep. And so what else is going on? Floodwick.
Yeah, it was 5 doppelgangers, 1 dead and 1 escaped.
Yeah. Floodwick, the Royal Tinker is still on scene. Han announces that Velocendim has found prisoners in the lower keep that have not been, whose identity is not clearly understood, and by the description that the dragon has given, they believe that one of these may be Duban the Sage, which is wonderful news for the king. Yeah, and so it seems that there was a couple of prisoners that had been held in one of the towers of the lower keep for like ever since Velocendim's been here, and he's just never asked about it because they were, you know, they were from some time before he became overseer of the lower keep. And anyway, unfortunately, the old man, his tongue was cut out, so he's unable to speak. But Velocendim is going to be questioning him and finding out what he knows. And so hopefully good news awaits His Majesty once they finish with breakfast and gather in the throne room. So what else is going on? There's like a whole bunch of people that are still missing, and they're sorting all that out still. I don't know if any of them's names would be familiar to you guys, so I'm not going to go through all that unless you just really want to know what all's going on.
Noteworthy that we should know?
Does
What was the question, Laura?
Yes, if there's anybody noteworthy that we should know.
Yeah, you know, I could sit here and go through the book and like tell you all. It would be a little slow though.
You want to just message it to me later?
Yeah, for the time being, I guess the king is saying, no, we'll talk about that in the throne room. Let's just enjoy our breakfast for now. He'll make sure to ask that you all slept well, and if there's anything you need. He says, have you made up your mind about seeing Kabusi?
I think that we were planning on doing that, yes.
later though, remember?
Oh. Right.
I thought we were looking for the others before we went. Go figure out if that's Japan down there.
Yeah, we're looking for the guy whose name sounds like Kabusi.
Oh yeah, that would be would be one that's relative to you guys. So, Jaboosh and oh gosh, what were all those guys' names? I have to go back and look at the
Doppelgangers. I don't actually know. Me doesn't actually know.
So as beyond Mordecai was the old man. He was friends with Jaboosh. Asbion is their, I think he's their warrior companion. They had been staying up here in the upper keep and trying to get permission, trying to do the same thing you're doing, trying to get to see Kabusi, because they're interested in something that lies beyond here, beyond this part of the palace anyway. But they're all three gone. So first it was Jaboosh that had gone to retrieve some of their things from their bedroom, and I think that's when you guys first met him. And you had that first captured doppelganger at the time, of course, before Aura came along. And let's see if I can find the room where they're in it. But anyway, Jaboosh never did return after you guys encountered him in the bedroom, and then eventually, and that's why Asbion had to ask you guys, or Mordecai had asked you guys to help look for him that last time you were out when you did find that batch of doppelgangers. But since then, they've all just left. Mordecai, and then this is like without the king's permission. They were supposed to be just staying with the main group, but like they snuck out of the courtroom and have disappeared off into the castle. So it's like herding cats, the king says. As soon as I account for some of my minions, 3 visitors wander off. And so anyway, that's a little frustrating for him. I can't find that bedroom. I'm really curious as to whether Asbion is actually a warrior or if he's something else.
Asbion, is that what you said?
Yeah, Asbion, Mordecai, and Jabush. Jabush the Sash, they call him. You don't know why.
Also, DM,
Yeah?
you remember, I think it was like 2 sessions back, I had inquired to I think it was the head guard, whenever we were last in here with the king,
Yeah?
about the witch that helped us out.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, and she had her plot to. Yeah, that news got delivered. If you're going to ask him, if you're going to follow up with him about it that morning during breakfast, was it Han or was it just one of the other guards?
I think it was Han.
Okay. Yeah. Asbion is a human fighter. He wears chainmail and fights with a rod. Han will say that he did pass the news on to Velocindim to keep an eye out up for her. Just be wary of her. Keep an eye on her actions if you can.
Oh, actually, I had inquired to actually fulfill my promise, since we weren't inquired.
Oh, you were going to find her own chamber.
Yes.
We were supposed to give her the chamber of the lovers, but we were trying to find a chamber for the lovers.
For the lovers. Yeah.
So she could have that one so we could accomplish our goal without fucking anybody over.
Yes. Yeah, and something else I was thinking about. I think there are a few bedrooms that have been freed up since the advent of the doppelgangers. That whole little hive of bedrooms, well, you found one of them. So there's several bedrooms that all connect to that secret chamber that you guys found. With the secret door in it that went into the chamber where all the doppelgangers were. And that's where, like, all of the kings, some in the past had been bedrooms for some of the nobility, some of the other royal family, but the king is like the last one of his blood left, because all the others have either gone crazy and committed suicide or been killed, and probably there's a few whose stories you don't know, but so anyway, there's a bunch of bedrooms that connect together, and that's where most of his advisors stay. So basically, yes, there is a bedroom that she can have.
That the couple could have.
Yeah, the couple could have.
That way we could.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and because the Han would much rather have them up here in the upper keep than have the half-orc witch up here. She's not coming up here. So yes, that will work out. And he'll make arrangements to give you a key later to that bedroom. He's still got to make sure it's okay with the king. The news of these, some of this is all fresh and hasn't been sorted out yet.
Okay. I tell him I appreciate it. I tell him I try to fulfill my promises.
Yes. A good and upstanding, what do you call your kind again?
We're Yanti, and I'm probably the best one you'll ever find. If you ever come across another one, you should probably be wary.
Indeed, he says. All right, so breakfast is about over with, and the king's court is going to make way for the throne room soon. Speak now or forever hold your peace if you wish to go and see Kabusi. Or I guess you could follow them to the courtroom and then decide later.
I don't want to forever hold her peace.
Yeah, not forever hold our peace. Like we're trying to take care of you loose ends. Oh yeah, by the way, King. Guys, the shopping spree, remember?
I don't remember, but what were we looking to get? Those healing things?
Healing. My character wanted to drop off the cloaker at the what do you call it?
The blacksmith? Were we gonna silver stuff up?
Yeah, y'all were gonna silver up. I probably should silver up too. And I needed to talk to the tanner because I had dropped off those tails. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to drop off the cloaker.
Or I was just curious about possible magic items that could be a thing. But she's kind of keeping that one to herself.
Oh.
Okay, so you guys gonna move with the court to the throne room or hang around here?
Yes. Sure. But we do want to, we would like to get an escort from someone to be able to go do all of our shopping spree things.
Yeah, security's tightest up here. In the lower keep, it's still sort of every man for himself. Velocindem's trying his best to keep that all under control. So basically, the King's Guards can get you to the lower keep, but they're not going to like follow you around once you're down there. You're on your own once you're in the lower keep.
Can we get some keys, man? Because we had inquired about it before.
What's that?
I believe we had inquired about it before as the king.
What keys to what?
No. I mean, like, we had inquired that we need to go and
Yeah.
put it up before we.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, that is fine. You're basically in the lower keep once you're back down in the throne room. See, this portal here leads back into the chambers of the lower keep. And this portal leads back into the chambers of the upper keep. And so do these portals.
Okay.
Technically, I think...
Vicky, I'm just going to turn to you and I'm just going to... You just call him man.
What's that?
With me?
Yeah, no, or I just turn to Icky and is like, absolutely offended. Did you just call him man?
No.
Oh, I swear I thought that I heard you do that.
He probably did.
Sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
He'll deny it until his dying day.
Okay.
Take that one, my grave.
So
That's
you
just
have...
absolutely offended Aura.
Roll an insight check, see if I'm lying.
I will, dang it!
So,
You have no idea.
I think before the king and Han can even finish answering your questions, there's already servants are coming up to the king. And it's like, oh, my lord, the dwarves, they won't shut up. They must see you. And oh, my king, the elven party, they are as well pestering at my door every day. And there's elves and dwarves and halflings and gnomes all here to see the king, and they're all backed up. And so the king's about to start getting busy with his affairs, and says, okay, it's one last time. Do you need anything from him?
Nothing right now.
Do
Yes.
I recognize any of the, hang on, the elven dignitaries?
They're not here, actually. It's
Oh, and
just-
they said they were, I'm sorry.
No, it's just servants telling the king, like, I don't know what to tell them, my lord. And usually the king has like a filter in between. He's got a couple of lines of people that are filtering out all these urgent requests, so he's not getting bombarded with stuff constantly. But right now he is getting bombarded with stuff.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
And his patience is wearing. There's still doppelgangers in the halls. How frustrating. Breakfast is already over. Now I have to do stuff.
Well, a little being going? You said the lower keeps this way.
Yeah, well, actually, it's through this portal here.
We'll be back.
All right, I'm gonna go fire up the chapter 3. Yep. Yeah, once you go through that portal, that's a random roll, by the way. So, whenever you guys, one of you roll for me, and then I'll see where y'all pop into chapter 3 at. And you guys have stumbled into Sweet Ruby's bakery, as she is kneading out some dough. The guard comes to attention as you step into the chamber. He says, "Oh, it's just you."
And give him a little wave as we come in.
Ruby looks over. "Leo! The new hero is here."
Running over to give her a pat on the shoulder. So great to see you.
"Oh, make it a big doughy hug," she says, and puts big palm prints of flour on your back, your blackened armor, blackened leather.
We'll pull it in. Nice big hug. We'll say, we've been on a lot of adventures. Your bread has done us very well. Thank you.
So I have heard. Would you like another loaf to take with you?
Yes, please. We've gotten some more companions as well, so I'd like to have them experience your bread.
Oh, of course. She hands a roll to each one of you.
Woohoo!
Sweet
What
Ruby.
about the pancakes? Who makes some pancakes?
"Those pancakes, they're overrated," she says. "My bread is much better."
Much better. Much better.
I definitely prefer the bread.
She is a master bread maker and versatile in bread making methods of many worlds. But despite this, she still just makes a few staple breads, like like these loaves, which each one acts as a week's rations.
I point out and I'll be like, "Hey, do you mind if we head out this window?"
"Oh, of course not. Let me just move my bread racks out of the way." And she'll grunt as she struggles with them. The guard will set down his spear and come over there to help her move them.
Can I peek through the other portal while they're getting situated?
Yeah, you sure can. Is that good enough of a peek?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna pop back out and say, don't bother. Let's go quick.
Okay.
I promise, it's not surefire death this time.
You sure about that, Balthazar?
Have you pissed off Velocity lately?
I mean, him and I just talk every now and then.
Top of the morning to
Should
you.
be fun.
Top of the morning, says old Tigard, resting on his halberd. "Oh, you know, just another day. Sober
I
as
heard it was
I can be."
birthday or something the other day.
What's that?
I heard it was your birthday the other day or something.
Oh, was it really? I don't remember that in game. Out of game.
You told us that in game.
Oh.
That they were doing a celebration for Taggart.
Oh. Yep. I'm 57. Wait a second. I'm sorry. Yep. I'm 87.
I'm gonna toss him the leaky flask that I have from room. Do I have a room? No, I don't have a room it was from. The leaky flask that I have, and why do I have a room it's from? And say you don't look a day over 25.
He says, "Anything good in it?" Shakes it around, takes the cap off to smell it. Is there anything good in it?
We didn't
I
try.
don't think I ever tasted it.
We don't know what room it came from.
Not a clue.
Okay, he spits it back out. Vinegar?
Oh well, it may have been in my my pocket longer than I thought.
Oh, it was wine. Sorry.
Yeah, where's the wine, huh?
Here, I don't have any wine, but I have something that if you find some wine, you can drink it in.
Oh, well, that's nice. You don't have to do that.
Eh.
About that time, the Sapphire Dragon Velocendeem flies back up and lands on this tower. Ah, greetings. I see there are 4 of you now.
Yes. This young lady is an ambassador from the Feywilds.
Okay. Greetings, the mighty dragon says.
Hello, mighty dragon.
Let's see here. So we might as well just go ahead and put ourselves here because this is where you're at. Over here up on this wall. Good lord of the characters.
Don't forget to clear the carriage. Don't forget the torch.
Clear the map. There we go.
I did that to you the other day, and I'm surprised you never even noticed it.
What's that?
I put all those characters. These are all characters from my sheets.
Oh.
I put them all on there, just to play with you.
Well, geez, thanks.
I apologize. Give me a second. I gotta...
So, Velocendeem says, he didn't ask you for booze, did he?
I didn't give him booze.
No, just vinegar, says Tigard. And he just tosses that flask out over into the skies.
I was gonna use that as it slowly falls down into the clouds.
Well, anyways, do either of y'all know? I pull out the cloaker. I'm like, where? How do I get to the tanner again?
Yeah. So Velocendeem says, I've been keeping as many keys as I can for myself. Give me just a moment. And he sticks his head down into a hole in the top of this tower. You hear him muttering to something in there. And later he'll come back out with the key and he says, you can bring it back to me, right back to me, he says. I'll be waiting for you. That'll open up the key to the tanner.
Okay. And is there a blacksmith here that specializes in weapons?
Yes, all that can be arranged. So rather than just moving everybody from room to room, unless y'all really want to, you can just take, if you got a list of things you need to get procured, we could just do that sort of hand wavy sort of way.
Yes. So I head to the tanner. Is there a door in any one of these?
Nah, you'll have to give you a lift down to the courtyard, and then you can go into the tavern and use the door in the back of the tavern.
How far is it from here?
To the tavern? He'll he'll sweep his wings to clear the fog away, so you can kind of see what it looks like down there. And that is probably that's probably more like 30 feet, if I had to guess.
So I run
20, 25, something like that. Yeah.
I run over here and I jump down onto this.
All right. I think that would be clearing about a 10-foot leap.
Okay. Featherfall or Featherfall.
I cast guidance on him before he jumps.
No, I don't need to. I have Featherfall. I'd be able to mitigate 20. I think it's 5 times my monk level, and I think I'm monk level 5 or 4.
You don't know that. She thinks you're crazy.
I do think he's crazy.
Slow fall. And I just jump down.
Okay. If anybody else needs a lift, Velocindeme will just extend his wing out and set you down onto the top of this thing here where you can make your way down yourself.
I gladly will take advantage of that with a currency and not take out my wings right now.
So he'll give you keys, but just on the understanding that you go and unlock the door, open it up, and then bring him the key right back. No taking off with any of his keys right now. There's guards posted outside the tavern now. There's 2 orcs on watch out here, so there's nobody's sleeping in these days. They've got all the guards on duty as best they can on any places in the lower keep that still have to function. So you can get into the tavern from here and use the door in the back of the tavern to get to the different shops that you need to get to. And which I figure would probably be more comfortable for everybody anyway to work out of the tavern. So we'll do that.
We're already here.
And you'll run into what's his name? Jeb? Keymaker?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. He's finishing up his breakfast and heading out for the day, and he hadn't seen you guys in a few days, or what's it been, a week now? And good to see you. And the tavern is being run by, actually, why not? Let's just put what's her name? No, can't put her in charge of the tavern. Who the hell? No, it's just going to be run by orcs.
Jeez.
yeah, and they, so it's not it's a little difficult sometimes. Not all of them speak common exceptionally well, and they're rather rude. So anyway, you can. So it's not the best place to be, but it makes a little HQ for you guys to operate out of while you go and run your errands. And starting with getting a cloaker hide tanned. I remember his name, Mishakel, the tanner. You guys paid off his debt, if I'm not mistaken.
I was hunting his name and could not find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also dropped off those 40-foot tails from Balthazar and Leo, I believe, were the two. No, Balthazar and Pinwall.
Okay.
Remember that, Dion?
Yeah.
Whenever they accidentally got those 40-foot tails.
Yes. I do remember the 40-foot tails, yes. Yeah.
I dropped them off and asked them to make something nice out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is going to end up being sacks? Leather? Scale sacks?
You want to even give us a backpack?
Yeah, backpack, sure.
It's a 40-foot long sack.
That's what she said?
Hey, can you add in a book holster for me? I'm not having to carry this dang book around all my life. Oh yeah, origami spell book. It's pretty.
Nice.
Balthazar's going to show her how he tucks his books into his robe. And then he's holding like 4 books wrapped up in his robe.
I was thinking like a book holster, kind of like a gun holster, but, books instead. So if he doesn't want to do that without having to craft one, I'll be a fan.
It's all about the layers.
What the layers?
It's all about the quick draw. And the style, Neil says.
Two dwarves come into the tavern and grumble their way over to the bar.
I'll try to get close. Sit down.
What was that? Try to get to
Or they
them?
just look grumpy.
Just try to get close to them and sit down close to wherever they're sitting.
Okay.
See if I get over here, whatever they're saying.
Yeah. I'll take the swish, I suppose, he says to the orc behind the counter, and the orc pours him a tall mug. The other dwarf leans over and says, "How long are we going to let our Kangar sleep?" And the other dwarf says, he's the king seeing elves, so he probably can sleep for a while. And so
The king what?
the king is seeing elves, so it'll probably be a while. So we might as well let our Kangar sleep, he tells the other dwarf. And then they both just grumble about not liking this place, and oh god, the swish is terrible. What else do you have? They say, and they both push their mugs back at the same time. And then the dwarf or the orc shrugs and pours another mug for each of them and sets it on the table. And they drink that up and says, this'll do.
We go with the list.
I'm good on the list.
Samesies.
Yeah, no, that's all I can think of.
Probably make that book holster out of part of the tail's leather.
Yeah, it is 40 feet.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's anything like a bookbinder down here that might be able to, might already have something like that for sale.
I'm not able to open up the thing, but honestly, if you'd read the chat, DM.
Right, bracers of defense. Who wouldn't love a set of bracers of defense?
Anyone, especially a frontline guy like me.
Oh, Penlaw, jeez. Let's switch this over to.
Yeah,
that Lincoln.
there's
That Lincoln. I think the book holster she's talking about.
Oh, that's baller.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, probably you'll have to improvise something. It doesn't look like anybody in the lower keep really specializes in books. So, yeah. I think all their paper is imported. However, there is one junk monger who's come into the keep. He has a cart outside in the courtyard that is just full of random things. Just crap he buys and sells, most of it junk, but things like just real common stuff like kettles and, camp equipment, that sort of thing. So, are you guys done with that list? Booker Bee's cloak. Something nice made out of the 40 tails, silver. You want to get all these weapons silvered. Balthazar needs some studded leather. Studded leather armor can be purchased that same day. As far as the Cloaker Beast cloak, and that'll take some time for Mashakal to work with it. However, he has already made you some backpacks or bags of your choosing out of those 40-foot tails. He's not so sure how well those are going to hold up. The scales are all like shedding off layers of, it's almost like snake skin. But nevertheless, and they stink kind of too. He just says he can't get that smell out of the meat, out of the hide.
Must be Kurt.
Can I press the digit to take the smell out of it?
Sure. Temporarily. So yeah, getting your weapons silvered will take a few days. So you can leave them with him, or you can stay for a few nights down in the lower keep until he's done. And that's all I see on the list for now.
I'll give him one of these curved daggers I got from 363.
Okay. I know which ones you're talking about. Ritual daggers.
Oh, yeah, we all got one, didn't we?
Yeah, I had extras though.
Are we gonna hang down here and wait for this stuff and chill with the folks, or are we gonna go back up and keep looking for our marks and?
I think we should. Wait, the key maker made us a key to our room, didn't he? Our service quarter room.
Yeah, I believe so. I thought one of you had one.
Yep. And to the
Yeah, one of us has one. So we can come right back. So we have a key to the throne room.
we can come back here anytime we want, and we have a key to the throne room to go back up there. So should we? Where do you think we should start? Look, like we're down here. Should we hang out here for a couple days and look for people, or should we go back up there? What do you think?
I think we should go back up there.
All right. Make it so.
Okay, we're back up there, back to the dining hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and
Pushing our luck
I
through.
have the key. I have the key to the dining hall. Don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the key to the dining hall.
Have you
I'll
guys?
go
Okay,
ahead.
you gotta go back to the dragon to make sure that it'll piss him off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I head back to the dragon. I collect her keys and I head back to the dragon.
Okay.
Get him.
Yeah.
I pass. I give him back.
Yep.
Sorry, I almost forgot.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there he says, "Oh, I'm glad I caught you. I need you to escort someone since you're going back up to the upper court."
Definitely.
And so he picks up off the top of the tower and flies down to the courtyard, this man in his hands, and sets the old man down. The man is, of course, very, very old, very frail, hunched over. He says, "This is Duban the sage. His tongue has been cut out, so he cannot speak. The king will be very pleased to see him."
Ah, the king's old advisor.
Yep. The old man is sort of a quivering mess, having been in prison for a very long time. But he still manages to muster up a gentle smile as I guess you guys help him into the portal to take him with you.
Yeah, Leopoldo will break off a little piece of the bread, and he has a little bit of wine. He'll just like dip it in to give it a little flavor and pass it off to the old man, put his arm around him and say, "It's okay. We're going to have you back to the king in no time, my friend. You're safe now. The worst is over."
Okay, he just smiles and nods. Have you guys done anything that's worth exporting these characters before we go back over to Chapter 4?
I don't think so.
All right, so most of the dining hall is cleared out now. A few guards. The maid. She's always coming through here. and you guys come in with this old man. The guards don't recognize him.
Guards, is the king around?
Of course, this way, and lead you through that portal.
Kind of keep my eye, keep him calm.
Okay.
And also, to make sure he's not a doppelganger.
So before we walk through the door, I want to cast Detect Good and Evil, and check out the old man as we're walking through the portal to the king.
Okay. He does not radiate evil.
Okay, and I also want to focus on the room we are entering now. If there's any doppelgangers in the throne room right now.
There's nothing that radiates evil in the throne room.
Okay. Cool. We're
So,
good.
the king is talking to some elves that are gathered up here in front of him. He sees you guys come in through this portal here, and he immediately rises, cuts off the female elf that's speaking in mid-sentence as he says, Is that him? He says. And he starts to walk right past the elves down the steps towards all of you. Han hurries to keep up with him. And
It is your loyal old advisor, Duban.
Sage.
Yeah, so the king has a near breakdown at this moment. He tears up as he sees the old man coming up the steps frailly towards him. The king just about weeps as he embraces Duban, and he says, I'm sorry, you taught me as well as a father would his own son, and I betrayed you and abandoned you, all because of that scheming Moshik. He says, I will never do justice to this situation. And the old man just takes it in stride and pats him on the back. He can't say anything, and he kind of mouths something that looks like it's okay. And the king says that he cannot. He says he cannot hold court now. He says we will return to this meeting later. Tell them we'll return to this meeting later. And Han makes his way up there, and you can tell this female elf, she just like gets furious and just kind of stamps her foot, and she makes a motion with her hand, and all these heavily armored elven guards around her all start marching down the steps. They'll throw the stink eye at all of you as they pass by.
Do I recognize her?
My hat off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she just storms
Do I
right in.
recognize her?
What was that?
Do I recognize her?
No, you do not recognize her. Although she looks finely dressed. She looks every bit the part of elven nobility. So the king and Duban will just kind of arm in arm walk off together. Han will try to keep up with him. He'll motion for some guards to follow along, and they'll make their way back towards the dining hall through the same portal that you guys came in here from.
Okay.
Well, my friends.
This is off to looking for the other guy, Jaboose.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I haven't seen the other travelers around, so maybe they're off looking for him too.
Yeah, that's Mordecai, right? The other guy?
Mordecai, Asbion, and
Mordecai.
Jabush.
So we can see if we can find any of them. We're working out the stuff with, what's her name? The witch, right? With the room?
The Han is taking care of that for us.
So is it, do we assume that that's good, or do we have to go back to Hayabusa and say that it's going to be taken care of and close ourselves out of that?
I believe that.
I am afraid she seems like one who could take my life away as quickly as she gave it.
I believe that it will be taken care of. If not, then later on we'll personally take care of it.
All right.
You guys were just down there, and you didn't. You could have sent a messenger while you were there.
Yeah. Well,
You
we'll
might
be
just
back.
start handling some of this stuff out of game. If you guys want to, kind of just do like a few little. We take care of this over the next couple of days in chat. I'd be okay with that.
So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna drop a note off.
Okay. Okay.
Hayabusa.
Well, in that case, do you? So do you? There's always that random check. Why don't you somebody give me a D100 roll? Just to make sure it isn't something too crazy. Nah, you would have jumped back into the gambling den, and I'm sure gotten somebody to help you out getting back to the courtyard and send a You send a message.
We have a team in the freaking gambling den too.
We do.
You're gonna
But
need
yeah,
to
we
keep
have
up.
a key to the servants' quarters too, Gil.
Yeah, to which room?
The one where the key maker was in, the one that we're living in.
Yes,
Key
right.
maker made the key for
Oh,
us.
yes. You could always do that. Yeah, you could go back to the dining hall and then use the door of the dining hall to go back to that one. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, rather than jump randomly back into a chamber and find your way to the courtyard. Yeah, that works. Let's just wave that away. That's done. You send a message to Hayabusa that she will soon have her chamber back. And you're keeping your word.
Yes. Tell her that we're going through Han to make everyone happy.
I think she'll be satisfied as long as she gets her way in the end. I
As
hope.
long as she knows that we haven't forgotten about her. That's the biggest thing because remember we told her it might take a while because we had like a shit ton of stuff to take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if we die before we get it done? She's gonna kill us.
Then it's the rest of everybody else's problem in the party.
So Aura, through their conversations, you seem to make out that they made some kind of deal with a half-orc witch, the laundress of the lower keep, who washes all the clothes down there.
Something tells me it's going to bite them in the ass, but she's quite entertained by the exchange.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like everywhere these guys have gone, they've gotten into some kind of trouble. They owe somebody a debt or have some loose end untied. It seems to be a mess right now, really.
No more. We don't have any more loose ends.
Was that it? Okay.
That was
That was the last
big
one
loose
sent.
end.
Yeah. There's still, like, other threads of adventure that you've heard about, but nobody's really quite taken up. And there's still the other missing adventurers, and there's all these visitors to the throne, and there's a missing gnome. I think that's about all of the loose adventure threads you've heard about.
Right, we heard the. Have we heard the name of the missing gnome?
Haven't heard the name of what?
The missing gnome.
Yeah, Fudwick.
Can you put that in chat?
Yep.
Wedwick?
Booty lick.
There's been a few other adventure threads dropped here and there. I don't know if you picked up on whether or not they were adventure threads or not. But I'll tell you what, it would be pretty hard to spade these 2 chapters. I mean, because there's probably like 50 different adventure threads, between the 2 of them combined. At least 25.
Yeah. Are all the things that we've experienced already baked into the book, or have you made up any of it on the fly so far?
I have made up maybe 10% of what you've heard has been something on the fly. I think the vast majority of it's actually baked in.
Cool, that's pretty good.
Although it's a lot easier for me to make the connections than it would be for the average DM who'd have to like thumb back and forth between all these different pages to like fully know the story of some adventure thread. I always try to write it out to where it's like, if you just walk into this room and pick up on something, like, don't worry about it, because if you come back to it later, it's going to say something in there about reference back to this page, so that there's like, you don't have to know it all, I guess is what I'm saying, to run it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be set up where every page is its own encounter, standalone.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, the king is happy. We are free to do what we will. I guess we roam around out here to look for for Jabush, Mordecai, and some of the doppelgangers. Or
Yeah, let's do it. And don't forget that gnome.
and Floodwick, yeah. And then whenever our stuff is ready, we do this until our stuff is ready, or we keep on going. All right.
Let's do this until our stuff's ready / we make some headway.
All right.
Let's figure it out on the way.
DM, you said they had the armor, the leather armor ready. Did I need to subtract some cash or anything for that?
Yeah, standard cost for studded leather.
Okay.
Whatever it is in the books.
45 gold pieces.
45.
Probably normally would cost you about twice that, but you guys have got some clout as heroic adventurers around here, so they're willing to sell it at standard prices.
Nice.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you, Icky, for the influx of cash.
Man.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that studded leather probably came from the orcs' armory, and they probably were going to try to charge you double its standard cost, and then Velocindine was like, no, you're going to sell it for what it's worth, and intervened to make sure you guys didn't get ripped off.
Ooh. You're looking.
Velocity is the dragon?
Velocindine is the dragon, yeah.
He is our benefactor in all respects.
Yeah, he's been the one guy that's been on your side since the beginning of all this. I mean, kinda. He was really skeptical of you at first, but...
He was really down to have us killed the first time.
I think he was about to have us hung, but once we understood the rules and started playing by them, I think he was pretty impressed with us.
Yep. Yep, because you didn't go looting through the chambers. You left everything where it was supposed to be.
And that was the hardest part.
Yep.
Ish.
We're just leaving everything exactly where it is. Took him a couple times of saying through our gemstones.
Yeah, like basically the stuff that we find in drawers and chests that were locked, he was like, hey. We're like, okay. Can we at least look?
Because they carry these sapphire ward stones around this place, and you're supposed to have one. It's like your permission to be in forbidden chambers, or at least places where the common people don't go. But he can also see through them psionically, so it's kind of
I believe Aura's been given one.
Yes, I think that's right.
We tried it at the end of this beginning. If anything, you've seen it around Icky's neck. Like he literally, his cloak part's in the middle, and it's around his neck.
Battlestar has his tucked into the folds of his robe.
And really, they're mostly for strangers, because once you get established here, everybody just knows your face. Which, of course, these days you can't quite trust faces anymore. So,
But
are we finally to the fun part where we just start jumping through portals?
Yeah. Let's do it.
That's the whole reason why DM's here. He just wants to see us portal hop. That's all.
You nailed it.
We're trying to be mature players and trying to make sure we're prepared. And he's like, run.
Yeah. Do it. Just go, man. I promise you everything will be okay.
I like to give you. I like to let everybody have like a little semblance of control every now and then before. I can always turn this into a shit through the next. Oh shit! Let's jump through the next portal situation, and that's when it really gets fun.
Or TPK.
Yeah, and
I swear
it
I'm not
sometimes
trying to kill you.
Wink.
Oh, when I was
This is a wink.
so I play or did play a character in another group that someone else was DMing in the palace, and if they started to bore me, I would just like make sure that my character just jump through a portal randomly, and they're like, well, fuck, I guess we have to follow him. It always gets really fun when you get to that part.
All right. I guess we're going.
Nice. Well, not nice, because that is...
Never good.
We are dead.
Where are y'all at? Are y'all in the throne room? That's where we're at currently, isn't it? Back in the throne room?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm guessing...
Room 1.
I'm guessing you went through this portal here, and that would take you all the way back to here. So normally you go through this portal. This portal is an established static connection between the throne room and the dining hall. But this time you come in through this portal into the dining hall from the throne room.
Icky yells, son of a bitch, and he goes through the door.
Okay. Give me a roll. Oh, duh. Not 443, 343. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this one or not.
We'll decide that.
Oh, yes,
Yes, we've
you
seen
have.
that one. The characters are still there.
Yep.
Those characters are.
Pinwall is not there.
Any more blood?
Yeah, there's fresh blood and doppelganger heads in a bucket over in the corner.
They've been there for a little while.
No, these are last night's kills.
Doppelganger. Yum. I had to back out and I closed the door again. I'd be like, yeah, Leopold track.
All right. I haven't done this in a while, it feels like.
Storm's here.
This guy. I'll pull my head back in. Oh, wait, was that... who was that? Pinwall in there?
It was Pinwall in there, yeah.
All right, so...
You were the giant?
Yeah. Pinwall never met the giant, so...
Yep. Chiseling away. Actually, no. He is, when you walk in and look on him this time, he's sitting on the edge of this stone with his ear to it.
I'll just kind of watch him and see if he reacts or says anything for a second.
He's not even looking at the portal. He's kind of like lost in space.
I'm gonna ask, greet Mueller and ask him how his horse is doing.
Good. Who are you?
So,
We're friends.
Oh,
We
Do you
said to
need
the king.
something?
No, we just come with the king's thanks. Keep up the great job, our friend.
Yeah, you asked a while ago. Just want to say hi. Have a good one.
Oh yeah, I remember. And by that time, you pulled your head back out of the portal. Where to?
How about the ambassador? Give it a try.
I can give it a try, yeah.
324. Oh, that old chestnut.
I don't feel good about this now.
Of course, the chamber is empty. The keymaster has long since been dealt with here.
Did she come through this one or this one?
You actually come through the one in the foreground this time.
I just kind of spin the ring on my finger that I found in here.
Hee 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 hee.
That annoying motherfucker. Y'all want to just continue to go through?
Might as well.
Yep.
It's back to me.
Actually, before we go, you want to see if they if they came back and squirreled anything away back here again? Because we got this guy's ring or something, I think, over here, right?
Yeah, this is where I got that ring from bees.
Right, but if there's a couple of doppelgangers left, maybe they came back and hid enough, like maybe the next leader hid something else. Want to check it out?
I mean, no harm in trying.
All right. I'll roll a Thompson. Check it out back here.
Perception or
I'll
investigation, depending on how deep into it you want to get.
I think you had to reach deep in there, right? So I'm gonna like reach my arm in as deep as it'll go and feel around with my blind sight. Is that?
Casting guidance.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey.
I'm helping.
Would that be investigate?
Yeah, it would be investigation. Yep.
Well, I'm not really good at that, but there's that and plus a D4, right?
Plus the D4.
11.
Okay, you rouse a bat nestled down in the little reclusive cove there, alcove, and it flies out into your face, startling the party, and flies out a portal.
Well, worth a shot.
No. You win some, you lose some. And let's head through that next portal.
I think you're up, Balthazar.
Yeah.
You come in, the stairs keep on going up. You go up through a portal and you come into more stairs, still ascending. This chamber is 40-foot long staired hallway. In the middle of one wall, a statue of a hooded swordsman stands. And you're actually coming in from the bottom.
Did we just roll a 24, 25, 26?
Oh, with cloak involved, yeah.
Yep. Wow.
So after Balthazar takes a couple of steps up the staircase, he's gonna be like, I thought we learned that I don't go first. And I'm gonna usher Icky by.
I take my quarterstaff, extend it as far as possible. I'm tapping everything around, like every fucking step, and then I'm gonna ding the shit out of that fucking statue.
Before you can get to the statue, it extends its stony arm towards you with a pointed finger and shoots a ray at you, which you need to make a save of some kind.
Point X.
let's see here. It's probably Dex. It's a Constitution save. This is against DC 12.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, DC 14. My bad.
And he's dead.
Yeah, and hold on. I think it's actually DC 14. Let me do this in my head real quick. Yeah, actually, you had only been making a DC 11 save, so that's not so bad. So yeah, you pass it, and oh, hold on. I have to make a ranged spell attack with this. So I would have missed with the spell anyway. The ray misses you, and so it continues. The ray is not an instantaneous effect, but rather it shoots out a constant beam, which hits the stone steps just a few steps ahead of you, and it attempts to correct the beam. But it's your turn.
Okay. I smash its arm.
Okay.
That's 20.
And what's the damage? Nice. 12 points. And it makes another attack at you because that does not destroy it.
Oh, then can I do my bonus action?
Sure.
Is that a no?
That is a no.
Damn.
And I got a 17. I think I hit with a 17. Like actually a 20. So you need to make another con save.
Can I silver bars that?
You can.
Alright, so roll again. Give Icky advantage on this concept there.
And you have to roll again, don't you? Well,
Yeah, DM needs to roll again, and then Icky should get to reroll his concept.
Gotcha. So I'm making my attack at disadvantage. Is that what you're saying?
You're rolling again. It's going to be the lower of the two.
Okay. Okay. So then it missed.
yes.
You still have advantage, regardless.
Well, but he wouldn't have to make the con save if I missed, though. So he's all good.
Yeah, no. So
As
he
for
gets
any
advantage.
special save, ability check, or attack roll, my next one.
Yep.
So, do I hit it again?
You can.
Can you, Neo?
Yep. Anybody else can make ranged attacks against it. Well,
Yeah,
I say
I'll let
ranged
anybody
attacks.
else go.
Spell attacks you can make ranged spell attacks. I don't think anybody can throw daggers or arrows through the midst of all the people in front of them because this is not a wide corridor. Okay.
Do you not
Eldritch
have
Blast.
an Eldritch
Hit.
Blast, Leo?
So Icky hits it with a stick, and we all just start blasting the shit.
Just join the club.
I mean, it seems to be a pretty resilient statue. These blows he's making against it don't seem to be doing much to it. Just jerking its aim off a little bit. And so that's a miss on the second one. But I do take 12 points of damage. So. Does anybody else do anything?
Don't you have another Eldritch Blast?
Is this?
You have two Eldritch
No,
Blasts.
oh gosh, I do.
You
You're right.
hand
Sorry.
copies of
That's
I
right.
had a 16 and a 9.
Yeah.
Eldritch Blast from the entire party except for Icky.
Another thing that I want to try, and I've always wanted to try it, but I don't know if it technically counts. So it says, I have to cast it at a creature, but could I argue that I'm just going to cast at this because something within 15 feet of you must succeed on a strength saving throw, or get pulled 10 feet towards you and take 1d8 lightning damage?
Yeah, you can try it.
Okay.
But anyway, you guys did your Eldritch Blast this round, right?
Yes.
Or are you doing the lightning lure in place of the Eldritch Blast?
Oh, I did after Eldritch Blast. I'm sorry.
Is Lightning Lure a bonus action ability?
No, because I didn't realize we were in combat. I thought we were just launching spells at this. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna. We are essentially in combat. I'm just gonna let all of you go first before I make another attack with it. And it looks like everybody did.
They're both.
I haven't made my attack yet.
Okay.
Yeah, these are both actions.
Yeah. That should end it until your PM.
Okay. And what was the damage I just took?
From me,
Yeah.
6 and 5.
11. Okay.
So 11.
All right.
I don't know about the Eldritch Blast.
And now I am not under the effects of Silvery Barb anymore, am I?
No, it was just that one. It was that one
Okay.
roll. But
All right.
he still has advantage.
So it still cannot focus the beam on the Icky. You guys going to continue to attack it?
Yeah, y'all do y'all.
Yeah.
And assume you're like holding your ground. Icky, you're like right up here in front of it. Balthazar's next.
Icky's specifically hitting the arm.
Okay.
That's pointed
Hey,
out.
yeah, actually, I don't think there's been room for Aura to get in to attack yet.
Oh, there isn't? Okay. Well, then we'll just say I had it, I guess.
Well, no, I take that back. There is probably room for her to be just like barely inside the portal, but yeah, that's probably about right there.
Because it's a 15 distance for the lightning lure, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I missed, so you guys can continue to attack it.
I was gonna say, well, Icky has it occupied. I want to kind of hurry up the stairs, throw a couple Eldritch Blasts at it as I go, and set, teleport down the bottom of the stairs to pull on the torch and see if it makes it stop.
I will do that.
And I want to run to the top of the stairs and try and tug on that torch and see what happens.
All right.
Actually, can we coordinate our torch poles? See if that does anything.
I gotta look up
Can
this
I hold my
spell.
bonus
We count
object within range action to do that?
No, you don't. But as a reaction, when you rush past it, let me just go ahead and catch you right here. Its other arm, which so far is just holding that sword, extends outwards, and it fires another spell from it.
So nice.
Icky, I'm also going to remind you that you have magic resistance.
I do. I know I do. I just haven't had a chance to use it.
Yeah, well, I figure it's going to zap you again here in a minute.
And also
Or
Sentinel.
me. And Sentinel. This thing's attacking somebody besides Icky.
Hey, y'all told me to be quiet about it.
Dude, I know, but you didn't roll it. You gotta do it still.
It's a melee attack, so it depends on. I don't have. What do you want yet?
You cast a spell, right? Yeah.
Okay, so it fires a crackling beam of energy from the tip of its sword at Balthazar, and it misses him. And it smashes into the wall across from Balthazar and explodes with concussive force, sending a few splinters of stone. And then, Balthazar, you rush past and up to the top of the stairs, where you pull on that torch, which I will let you do is just an interaction with the environment.
Are we timing our
Nat 20 on that Eldritch Blast.
All right. So when you pull on the torch, you notice that the torch is made to turn to twist but not pull. Do you want to twist it instead?
Twist it.
Pop it.
I was about to say something too.
Spin it.
Oh.
Okay. So the torch turns clockwise towards the statue and clicks. After it makes about a quarter turn before it clicks into place. And that's all that happens. And meanwhile, it is pointing its sword up the stairs towards Balthazar, and it's still pointing its finger towards Icky. And we got Balthazar's Eldritch Blast in which one of which? Okay, yeah, she hit with, critted with.
Did the 16 hit too or no?
16 hits as well.
So not just 17, but 23. Oh, no, not 23. 20. The second 3 doesn't count.
Oh, right. That's only the first time, right?
Right.
Save a sneak attack.
There we go.
Hey, you're a Nova build, aren't you, Leo?
I'm what?
Yes, sir.
Everything on that first attack.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah,
fairly
Yeah, let me catch up on all the damage now. So Balthazar, you did a total of what on both of those attacks?
20 total.
20 total. Okay, and then Leo, you did a total of 4 because one of them missed.
Yeah.
And then who's next? We still got Icky,
Renegade and me.
Aura.
Waiting on her.
Can I
Or-
toss the torch at the bottom and turn it as well? See if that does anything.
Yes, you can. And it as well twists counterclockwise. So both torches are pointed towards the statue after you turn the second one. When the second torch clicks into place, a loud shifting of stone can be heard behind the statue by Icky, and the statue lowers its sword and its arm back into position and stops attacking all of you.
Hey, I did something right!
Huzzah!
My friends, I think we should keep the ambassador with us. We got through a room and Leo taps himself like on the chest. I'm still alive.
Well, there needs to be some kind of ringmaster for the circus.
Well, I knew something was gonna happen since it was Balthazar going through the room.
It's always something. But
I guess
hey,
this
that's why
needed
I
a
go
rip
first.
crap crawl.
So, Icky, care to go through the next portal?
Alright.
Not find something that wants to kill us?
Oh, wow.
That's impossible.
That's
Yeah.
impossible.
Everything wants to kill everyone, okay?
And most particularly you.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys move on.
Fuck.
Beware of the mimic. We've been here.
You guys come in through this portal?
Yep, and the smashed up mimic. And I point at it. I was like, you see, everything wants to kill you.
You just gotta kill it first. And,
I point at Leopold, who's disguised as Pinwall.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep on, yeah. I'm still like in pinball mode.
I'll be like, you're next, my man.
All right. And
And it's another 20 something. A 4.
All right.
Oh,
You guys
what the
come in from
What the fuck is that?
You guys come into the rear, the portal in the back of the chamber. The chamber is bare, aside from a few bones, a crate, and a giant snapping, spike-covered snail, which begins to twist slowly around as you guys enter into the room.
I continue to stay at its back, DM. Like, I'm gonna, like, it goes clockwise, I'm gonna be like, man. See if it notices me or not.
Yeah, there is barely room to move around it that way, but you can definitely try to do it. However, no matter what anybody's doing, let's get a turn order established.
Wait, did we get a surprise round? Since we came up on it?
It
Yes,
is a slug.
I'll give you that.
I remind everyone to not kill it just in case it's the king's pet again, like the wyverns.
I'm gonna very cautiously get behind our fighter front. I have no intention of being in the forefront. I like being alive.
modifier to initiative roll.
I'm gonna tap aura. Oh,
Go ahead. Let's
actually,
start
I'm
with-
sorry, Icky's going first.
Yeah, let's start with
Real
Icky.
good.
Icky said he's
Oh,
going to
hold
try
on,
to.
guys. I
I rolled a
gotta
crap.
update my sheet. My initiative is not going right. I have to add 4 more to whatever I roll here. Yeah.
A D4 or
No, for my new rogue level lets me add my charisma to my initiative now.
oh, so you're a swashbuckler.
Yeah.
So if you go in, you can see initiative modifier if you go into settings on attribute options, and you can add.
Yep, cool. I'm looking at it right now, thank you. Right. So I look at the party as we enter, and I whisper,
Wait, would you whisper? I couldn't hear.
sorry, are we going to try to, I whisper as quietly as I can, are we going to try to take this thing?
Let's do it.
Alright.
Just be sure not to kill it. Just in case it's one of the king's pets again.
Oh, well, I don't want to torture it to almost death. Are we just trying to get around it?
I don't know, man. Well, let's just fucking take after it. Fuck it, I'm feeling like a little combat.
Alright, let's do it.
I'll hit it
Yeah.
to see if it'll focus on me and y'all can at least get by. And what the hell am I seeing here? Is that like a weird frog thing?
It's bones.
Ah, bones. So clearly it's gonna attack us. So let's knock the fuck out. Who are you casting Bless on, Red?
No, but once it's my turn, I'll be casting on everybody. Everybody, not me.
Well, actually, you guys did get surprised on it. So before we enter the turn order, you have a round to do anything you want to do, and I feel like Icky and Leo spent that time figuring out if they're actually going to attack or not, which leaves Balthazar.
We'll set it up.
I'm cool with that.
and Aura a chance to quickly take an action.
So I'm going
Not change my
to
plan.
I'm going to tap Aura and spider climb her and myself using meta magic.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of try and peek inside this box if I can before I walk up to the ceiling and stand upside down above the thing.
Okay. Yes, it appears to have hatches on all sides, top, side, front, top, sides. Which one do you want to open?
Let's do one on the right side.
Okay. You open it quickly as your companions are all about to rush into combat positions, and a clay statue of an old maid with green painted skirt and yellow hood falls out of it, out of the side door when you open it up. And Aura, did you cast Bless on everyone while he was doing that? Okay. And now we can enter into the turn order. Icky.
I think you have to resort.
Oh, do I? Okay. Yes, Icky.
Does a 16 hit?
Okay, 16 will hit it.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use one arm. So 17 hits. Bam. And bam. So 11 damage deal.
Okay, so you whack at it with your staff and you nearly hit yourself in the face. Its hide seems to be made out of rubber, sending the staff bouncing right back at you. And the same goes for your unarmed strike. As you sweep a leg at it, it just your leg just bounces back off of it. So it has a resistance to bludgeoning attacks. Leo.
Man, okay. Well, Leo's gonna step in, get close to his buddy Icky over here, within 5 feet, so he can benefit from a sneak attack. And he's looking up at the ceiling. How high is that ceiling?
It's about 14 feet high, I'd say, up to the apex, where Balthazar is nimbly positioned.
Yeah. And I just look over at Icky before I do anything, and I say, might be too tight for darkness right here, Icky. Maybe if we can get to the other side, or...
Love it, Balthazar.
Why don't you go to the other side? I'll ask Balthazar to go to the other side so we can... It'll be a lot easier for him to do that than for us. And I will... attack. Wow.
The rapier.
Head resistant to bludgeoning, right?
Yeah, but the rapier cuts through it like butter.
All right, so that's -1 from that total, so 26.
26. All right. Nice. Blow.
And I will use my bonus action. So I'm sorry. Or did you start walking up the wall yet during part of that?
Yes.
I would imagine I probably would have a little bit, but considering that I'm not familiar with the whole ability to walk on walls, it would have been something a little weird for me, so not gone very far.
All right, so this thing is rotating. I'm going to use my disengage, my bonus action disengage, and just back off a little bit. And I'm going to try to spring on it next turn. If me and
Leo.
Yeah.
You're a swashbuckler, right?
Oh yeah, I don't need to take my disengage. Yep.
Yeah. So you can use your bonus action to attack too. That's the whole point of swashbuckler.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't have a second weapon to do a second-handed attack.
Dagger.
Oh yeah.
You have a dagger.
All right. Well, I will do a dagger attack. I think it just gets my this plus my. Well, I think 15 hits, right?
Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No.
Misses.
So it should be like 15 plus my. For the second hand, is it only plus my dex or only plus my proficiency?
You don't get
just plus your
dagger.
dex. Yeah, because you're not proficient with your offhand unless you take
Okay.
dueling.
So then it would be 20.
Okay, well, that would hit.
Unfortunately, the damage is going to be.
D4.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that add my dex too? Okay, so 5, 6.
So it's a finesse weapon, so you get to add how much to it?
It's going to be 6 total.
6 total. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. I'll add that to my roster now.
Okay, Balthazar.
Balthazar's gonna come all the way down here as far as he can, and he's going to throw a couple in the face of the snail thing.
I gotta do this, man. Whoops. Bam. You accidentally let go in mid-combat. But you did hit with one of them. However, the fall does 9 damage. And is that a total of 8, or is that just 3? Or is it? Yeah, that's 8, right?
It's 8, yeah.
Okay.
But it would be, it's resistance to bludgeoning, so it would be 6.
Oh, that's right, because yeah, Eldritch Blast is considered a
Is it
bludgeoning.
rounded up or down? I forget. Whenever it has resistance.
It is magic bludgeoning. If that makes a difference.
It does not.
Damage discretion.
Usually it's if it's resistant to accept magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about like resistant to non-magical attacks type thing.
Pretty
Okay.
much. But I mean, it's either way. Doesn't matter.
All right. Cool. Any bonus actions? No, you fumbled. That's right.
Can I, since I have my hasted movement, can I hop up and climb back to the ceiling?
Yes, you can.
Just kind of rub my head as I run back up the wall where I was.
Okay, so the snail has turned on the two of you and attacks Leo. And it attacks with a +5 to hit.
Alright. As it turns, it's going to take some booming blade damage.
Well, it's not actually changing its position. It's still occupying the same space. It's more semantics or theatrics than anything else.
Yeah, you can. I think you can turn around. You just can't move 5 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, nice! I got a crit.
Oh shit.
What crappy damage. So it does 2d6 plus 3.
Hold on, DM.
Here, that second one's the right roll. So a total of 11 damage. Nice.
Nice.
22 hits. 2
I
damage.
don't have my spears, so just switch that to bludgeoning. Remember my spears getting silvered?
Yeah. And that's all it does. It's big goofy snail with one single bite attack. Aura.
Yes. So I'm still have 8 or bless is a concentration spell, so I'm gonna stay where I am and be very comfy and do a little bit of wham bam.
Okay. That 22 will hit.
Awesome. So it'll be 12. And I'm quite cozy where I'm at. I'm just over here like, I don't know what else to do with my hands.
So it had just clamped down onto Leo's leg with its big bludgeoning teeth, which are not rubber. Leo comes to find out. And Aura's Eldritch Blast just knocks it loose from Leo's leg, and it just oozes something out of its mouth and kind of deflates a little bit, and all its rubbery flails go limp, and it's defeated.
Leo.
Hey, we made sure to, because I mentioned that, made sure to not kill it.
You did?
Well, I mean, we weren't. I thought you said we were just going to get some combat in. I was definitely looking to kill it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. I think that was all deadly damage.
Yeah, I didn't kill it. Well, I mean,
I was like, I wasn't trying to kill it. I didn't do it.
well, I think they would have told us if there was anything else we had to not. I mean, we have to be able to protect ourselves, after all. Right, friends?
What fell out over here?
Yeah, we go back and look over there. I'm going to show them the clay statue that I popped out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came out of a. Well, it seems like that must have been the only. That must have been the actual. You got lucky and opened the actual door of the box, because it fell out of a 2 by 2 foot cubic space behind the door, which would be basically the entire chest dimensions inside. So the other doors must be false doors, you assume.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So I found this figurine thing.
Do you mind checking it out, DM, see if any type of magic is on it or anything?
What do you want to? You want to like lick the clay statue?
Oh yeah, your magic lick. I forgot about that.
A magic lick.
You can say it's poison and magic.
Something. Oh, and I still have my silvery barb, so I'm gonna take advantage on that one, make it that nat 20.
Okay. This tastes like a dirty old clay doll, and nothing more.
The nat 20.
It's a clay statue of an old maid with a green painted skirt and yellow hood.
So
it was unremarkable.
clearly, this is somebody's trying to hide this off. A snail protecting it, and then a false door. Should we take care of this?
Looking for it.
Just hand it to the king.
Looking for an identity on the snail that says Fluffy.
It has no tag on it, as far as you can tell.
I'm naming it Fluffy.
I'm pretty sure Velocity would have already said something by now.
Let's
do
just
that.
take it and hand it to the king. Maybe it'll be a nice gift.
Are there any more secret panels on this thing that you were talking about?
Yeah, it looks like it has doors all over it. Like each face of it has a door, but like I said, the space behind the one that Balthazar opened was like the entirety of the box. So, I mean, I don't know if you can try opening them to see if they're false doors or not.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. See if maybe the box opens up into different dimensions or something.
Yeah, the top hatch opens up, and below it is it's filled with water, surprisingly, and paradoxically, because the door on the side is still open, and there's not water spilling out of that hatch.
I'll get real close to the water and try to sniff it. Does it smell clean? Does it look clean?
It doesn't smell bad. I mean, stale water is hard to tell if it's stale or not until you drink it.
Say, Icky, looks like there's water here. I don't know if We could fill up our water skins with it. You want to test it out for us? Was it Icky or Balthazar?
Sure, I'll test it out. DM.
Mm-hmm. What's that for?
Testing for poison. If you want me to send you the
Oh,
rules
okay.
on it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's not just something you just quickly do, though, right? You probably have to set up a couple of beakers and put fire to something, or do you just maybe it's a compound you put into the water, and if it froths up, it's poison. I don't know.
I think it's literally just testing it, tasting it. See, I don't know. I was a kid.
So it tastes like old water. I don't think it's fresh. It's not that fresh, really, but it's not probably bad either. I don't know. Maybe it's soaked in some bacteria from this wood after sitting in here for a while, but
Yeah, it just says detect poison or impurities in a drink, DC 10. I can also purify water. Your knowledge of brewing enables you to purify water that would otherwise be undrinkable. As part of a long rest, you can purify up to 6 gallons of water or 1 gallon as part of a short rest.
All right, so we could fill up our stuff maybe, and you could help us clean it during our next rest.
Sure.
Cool. All right, that's a good skill. I guess we have a couple more sides, right? 1, 2. We have 5 more sides left, or 4 more sides left.
yeah.
Try out, guys.
Yeah, try out the one on, I guess the right.
That was the one Balthazar had already opened, but you could try the one on the left. You open it, and silver pieces spill out of it. It seems that each side of the box is its own extra-dimensional space.
I'll scoop the silver pieces out of the way, and I'll close it, and I'll open it again to see if more silver pieces come out.
Nope, it's the same box of silver.
I'll just divvy it up among the party, a couple pieces each, whatever it is.
No, it's a lot. It's 2,000 silver pieces.
Oh, all right.
2,000?
Yep.
So that's 500 each. So 50 cents each, guys.
So you can rake them all, rake the silver pieces out onto the floor, and put them into quartered stacks, and then start putting them away into a backpack or a bag or whatever it
That
is.
takes care of our silver weapons cost.
Yeah.
So what's in the other doors?
So the top one was water. Your one was the thing. The front panel, I guess we could try.
It has 15 feet of silk rope with a grappling hook attached.
Ooh. What's this?
I like.
Not even Christmas yet.
I'll pass that on to some. I'll just pass it back. Whoever grabs it is fine, and I'll bin the box so I can access the back. Well, I'll ask for help. I'm not that strong. I'll ask for help spinning the box so we can access the back panel.
Oh, I see. There is a catch to this thing. Whenever you open a door, one of the other doors closes. It can only have one open at a time. So a door will magically close when you open another one.
Oh, that's fine.
Yep.
We don't want to spill water everywhere.
I'll take the grappling hook and I'll move it.
Okay.
All right. And I'll spin it around so we can get the back.
Okay. That one, when you open it, a stench hits you immediately, and you see the hairs of a severed head that is inside it.
I will hold my breath and just see if I can open the mouth to see if somebody hit something in the mouth.
Yep, there is a befouled piece of parchment that is in the rotting mouth.
I will carefully with my claws, like just with the tip of my claws on my pointer finger and thumb or whatever I have.
Yeah.
Just kind of clack it and just pull it out slowly, and with my head back, just close the thing up.
Leo,
Ugh.
I tell him, prestidigitation.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Whew, guys, I think
And maybe we need to take the head to Han.
yes. Do we have something that we can store it in besides this that doesn't smell? That was
You can
atrocious.
prestidigitation, and you have a bucket. Now that you have a bag, you can put it in the bucket.
I was quite partial to this bucket, but I suppose you're right. Okay. Well, let's get it last. We still do have one side, the bottom, so maybe we should tilt it back and see what's in the bottom. But I guess I should read what's on this parchment first. So,
What's in the bucket?
what is on the parchment here?
Oh.
All right, got it.
It broke that up and posted part of it publicly. Anyway,
No problem.
I'll just go ahead and put the two lines together since he'll be reading them.
I'll read it out loud. Dramatically, I'll say, the last thing he said was thank you. Nobody steals from Rythgong.
Is Rythgong the slug?
I think maybe it's somebody on this level, and he hid the head here. Does this skeleton over here have a skull?
There are a
Have
few
we heard
skulls.
this name before?
So we have a couple places where people would cheat, right? Like we know there's a gambling place. I don't know, maybe if one of the orcs that hang out there is Rythgong.
We haven't met a lot of people.
Well,
We've heard a lot of things.
yeah. I mean, the two things that we need to consider most strongly, and I guess I agree with Balthazar that we have to return the head, is this head is potentially now a doppelganger. You know, the doppelganger probably could be wearing his face.
Yes.
Look for
So
the
that's
face.
why I think we should take it back to Han's.
Yeah, although I don't think the person who killed them is the doppelganger. Because they seem to have been killed for revenge and stealing, and I think the doppelganger is just killed because they're trying to advance their goals, not specifically for revenge.
Dead men don't pay debts, and I don't know anybody that would agree with me on that one. Or that would disagree with me on that.
Well, this is definitely a message, right? It's a message. Well, it's not a good message because we have to find it. We don't even know who this guy is.
And we kind of took all the things out of this chest that were also in with said head. What's in the bottom?
Yeah, we got to figure out what's on the bottom. Exactly.
And then we gotta break it open with a staff to figure out what it is.
No, we want to keep this. We need to take this with us. We need to go put this in our room. We have a key to our room. Like our room in the call. I don't know if I'll take to our room in the barracks. We share that with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, it's safe then, right? Because no one's allowed to take any. The only Aura, the only real rule is if you break the law, you forfeit all your stuff. So if you're if in the course of us dealing justice to somebody who's broken the law, it's legal for us to take the stuff. Otherwise, Velocity is watching. So
Good news, I don't have a tendency to steal.
Well, when you lose all your stuff,
the rest just look around like, well,
That awkward moment when.
yeah, not us anymore either. But yeah, just so you know, That is the laws that we've been working by.
That's generally the law of the Feywild too.
So, to that end, I don't feel that putting it in the barracks would be problematic because if anyone steals from us now, I mean, we only lost our stuff because we were due to get hung. I don't think anyone would have the courage to steal from us now, do you? I'd say the group.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe those ants that we chased off and killed.
Could, yeah. I mean,
They're not imps. What were they?
goblins.
No, it was
Manticores?
goblins. Some. No, it was some kind of a
Oh,
small creature.
gremlins.
Yeah, it was gremlins. We missed a few, remember?
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna try to bring this box out of the thing, that's... They're gonna have to get through a lot of people, and I don't even know if they can drag it out. I don't even know if it's small enough to fit out one of our windows in the barracks. Oh, we got the opening at the top, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the ladder.
How heavy is the box?
The box is probably, well, it's the weight of its contents. If you guys took all the silver out of it, that's probably, the 10 gallons of water is what makes it heavy. 10 gallons weighs like, what, 30 pounds or something? I forget what the gallons to.
It's 8 pounds a gallon.
8 pounds a gallon, so yeah, it's 80 pounds of water.
Can we rotate the box so we can access the bottom?
Mm-hmm. It is empty. The bottom hatch is empty.
Huh. I guess
They all appear to be about 2 feet.
2 feet by 2 feet. Yep, 2 cubic feet.
Okay.
Well, no, I guess it's actually 4 cubic feet. Yeah, 2 by 2 by 2.
So if it's not magically refilling water, we could probably dump the water out and it'll make it lighter.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Reduced down to just the box. You spill all the water out here. Water pools. Some of it pours out the nearby portal and goes who knows where. The box itself probably weighs 7 or 8 pounds. 10 pounds. It's wood, sturdy. 10 pounds. Plus its contents maybe makes it.
Should we put the head back into it?
Should we put the note back in our mouth?
Yeah, we already got it in your bucket.
I mean, but I'd prefer not to have it on my hip if we could help it. It is sticky.
Sure, we put it in there for now. You prestidigitation yet?
I do appreciate you prestidigitation every 6 seconds, but
I personally I'm not wanting to be in the habit of carrying around severed heads. Maybe we should find a way to store it.
You already have those stinky backpacks and bags made out of those 40-foot tails, which the prestidigitation on that wore off pretty quickly.
I'm gonna put it back in the crate.
Iggy's sad because he went through so much trouble to clean and clean.
It's the curse
the bags.
as with Penwell cursed you guys as he walked out of the scene. He's like, made those tail bags stink forever.
How'd you hurt this poor man?
Well, he blames Penwell blames Icky for the tail because Icky kept on running around the thing, and Penwell said stop. So he's like he's all swole about it. Because then they had to cut it off of him and it hurt.
Poor guy.
I cut it off of him.
Yeah. So he
I saved his
violated.
tail.
He violated me twice.
Don't tempt him with good time.
All right, so we're gonna drag this box back to the barracks first, and then go back
I
to
don't see a
the.
door in here.
Oh,
I see a door too?
I thought this one was a door because it was squared off.
No, it's actually just an open portal.
Oh. Does the crate fit out the portals?
Yes, just barely.
All right.
Who's going to carry it?
I stick my head through this one.
Balthazar's super excited about it. He's carrying it.
Okay. It's moving day now.
Laura's not
Balthazar.
excited about this. She's kind of freaked out by it, honestly.
So I heard just sticking a head through a portal and not a complete departure from the chamber yet, so I'll show Icky what that looks like.
Do I see a door?
I don't think so, but maybe there's something hidden down those stairs.
I tell him, I'm like, this looks safe. And I guess we can only move on, so I'm gonna go ahead and head on in.
Okay.
Famous last words spoken.
I love safe.
The bright light of day floods this colorful hall of frescoes.
Hmm. Do any of these scenes seem like they're from the stained glass from the room we woke up in today?
Make a perception roll.
I will do that.
Because he asked, I'm going to.
I take out some of my catnip and start rubbing it on my fur and look up here, and I'm like, I love these paintings. I love these paintings.
These paintings don't look like anything you guys have seen so far in these halls. You don't recognize any of these faces. Balthazar says, wait a second. And he notices that that this one here looks an awful lot like the princess Idania.
Ooh.
I'm gonna call Icky over and be like, hey, who does that look like?
Yeah, do you make a history check or an intelligence check or something?
Yeah, anything you want to. You could use either any kind of knowledge, history, or perception to see if you can agree with him. You're not sure if it really looks like her or not. I mean, could
Oh
be.
man, it's Princess Idania. Come on, just imagine her like throwing cherries up in the air and catching them in her mouth.
I imagine her doing a lot of things during while I'm in the barracks. But
No, no,
whatever you imagine.
no.
Those ladies, the other wives of the king, do they look like anybody here?
No, don't recognize them.
Okay.
And we don't recognize any of these other people at all.
Oh, actually, Balthazar, that looks like King Ozimus to you. Up there. Now that you take it all in, you have to step back a little bit.
Okay. And so yeah, I'm just trying to puzzle how all these three things are put together. Is this like the third person that these genies have made this bargain with?
Well, you told me about that room where you saw that sarcophagus. Somebody was talking about a previous king, or there was a plaque about a previous king.
And didn't the king, since you said that looked like Princess Idenia, didn't the king have other daughters?
Yes, there were other
Those-
daughters
Are those
mentioned.
other three women? Yeah.
Give me another history check.
To see if they're women?
No, you can tell they're women.
Okay, cool.
The gender works different with Yanti.
And I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if that was like a friar or something. Oof.
Yeah, he's Icky tries to remember their names for a moment, and he's like, Sarah, Sarabella, and Shakira. That was their names.
I think that's their names.
Leo just keeps on looking up.
Again?
I was like Sarah, Bella, and Shakira. That's their names, right? The other,
He
the
just-
three daughters.
Bowser kind of raises an eyebrow and says, "Sounds right. We'll go with that." And then he's gonna kind of look at this other set with Leo.
Okay.
This guy here in the middle seems to remind me of that guy you were talking about who was madly running around trying to kill somebody. Does he look like
We
that?
don't talk about that.
The
Talk
top-
about Bruno?
The top figure reminds you of a giant. The figures below bear the likenesses of perhaps a halfling, a drow, a female warrior, and the last guy looks like just a commoner.
No, I don't think it's that guy. Does the giant doesn't look like the giant that we just ran into a couple rooms ago, right?
No, mm-mm.
He did have a father, though.
Didn't have a father.
I forget what his name was. If DM wants me to do a history check again.
Yeah.
I remember the king, specifically telling us the name. Oh, for once, a good history check.
Let's see if I can remember the name. Or rather, if I
That's
can.
why you're doing history checks. And that way you didn't have to remember.
Let's see here. Oh, good lord, I'm in the wrong chapter.
Actually, we didn't have a note on it. Found
Oh.
some note about leaving his father alone or something.
Yeah,
Him alone.
the stonecutter giant. And I don't even remember the stonecutter's name now that you mention it. But his father's name was Wernak.
Bernac. I was like, we don't have any description of the stonecutter's father with Burn. I don't know if that means anything.
Like looking closer and closer at these, the parts in the middle that look like I guess clubs from cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like this doesn't look like it matches. They don't look like they match necessarily. Do they look like match up with the image, with the rest of the image?
You can make a perception check.
Yeah.
Can't be sure.
was gonna say, can I
That's
see
my brain.
any patterns?
Yeah, I just pointed out to the group. I just say like, if you look up here, those have common elements that don't look like they fit with either of the other pieces, and I'm wondering if there's another image beneath some of these things that maybe we have to break away this part. Is this wood or stone?
That's fresco, so it's like painted plaster.
Oh.
Are you saying that we should break this wall?
No.
Decent Corey has quarter staff.
Let's maybe see if there's a false panel. Something about it at least it just seems like it's not matching up to me. I can't quite place what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna start searching the wall for.
Okay. Give me everybody that tries to search the walls for secret doors or sliding panels. Give me an investigation roll.
DM, did you see my perception roll?
Oh yes, and yes, you feel like those aren't those are different images in those panels, those club panels.
They're not related.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think those are related. I think you're just trying to put things where they're not.
So Balthazar, where did you search?
Around the center one.
Center? Okay. You don't find anything. Leo, where did you search?
I'm sorry. You said the center, just the whole. Are you taking like the whole?
Yeah,
floor
one.
panels?
I'll give you one investigation roll per section, and consider it 3
Yeah.
sections.
I'm gonna try to start looking over here.
Okay. So you feel around on that panel showing a golden maiden, and you find nothing there. You move on to the next one, and this one looks to be an image of a paladin, kneeling figure on a bent knee in prayer.
Jesse.
And when you touch that panel, you are hit with an overwhelming force of compulsion and need to make a save against. Let me see. Wisdom save DC 11.
Nope.
Okay. You
I did
have
not
been
save.
placed under a guise to do no evil.
Okay. I think I could live with that normally.
Yep.
How long does the geese last?
Is that 30 days?
Who knows? Arcana
Wait,
check could
he's-
determine that.
Wait, what's wrong with him? I'm sorry.
I don't even know if anyone would have noticed I was touching this panel with the paladin, and all of a sudden I just kind of like stood straight up and like blinked my eyes and shook my head and like went back to what I was doing. I think.
Oh, and to move beyond the paladin, because the stairs are going down there, you'll kind of have to like hug that ledge to continue
Yeah.
searching those other panels.
Out of character, what happened to Leo? I'm sorry. I think it cut out of my.
Under geese.
Which
Do you know
means
you-
what? Oh.
He's
Yeah.
basically charmed.
He's been charmed to do no evil.
Which means that he's basically lawful good at this point because that's sounds kind of subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, neutral good. I can do no evil.
Yeah, neutral good can do no evil. It's true. That's true. Anybody of a good alignment, but you know, anybody of a good alignment can at any time do whatever the hell they want, and say, okay, you know, fuck it, my character's going to be evil now.
Like,
Leo
like I said,
cannot.
it sounds pretty subjective.
Right, but
But I
the
still like
DM knows
murder
what it
any-
means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so moving on to the next panel, you're now tippy-toe on that little ledge there. This image is of the cleric. The figure appears to be healing a child. Above her head reads, "Know my blessings." And when you search this panel out by touching the face of the painting, you are affected by a Cure Wounds spell. If you had any damage on you.
I do, actually.
Can I tell that he's been healed?
I don't think he would be the first one to know.
What's the roll on that for Cure
Cure Wounds is D8, I believe.
Okay. D8 or D4?
Oh, it's D8 plus 3.
1, 2, 3. All right.
So mental note if, for the spot later.
Definitely. So I don't know if I would have recognized that the other one affected me, but I definitely think I would have recognized that this one affected me, and I would say like, "Hey guys, this one feels better than catnip," and I like rub my face on.
It only affects you that one time that you first touched it. Further touching of the panel doesn't seem to do anything.
I'll keep on going down, see if anything else.
Finally, the last panel. This chainmail-clad figure appears to be bearing 3 golden scrolls. And when you touch it, the image changes. And in the hands of the figure, in addition to the 3 golden scrolls, appears your most treasured item that you have on yourself right now. What is it? What is it, Leo?
I'm looking at my stuff. I mean, besides weapons, or like, I mean, my most treasured item would
magical
probably...
items, thing of sentimental value, whatever you got.
I was gonna say catnip.
The catnip, or I would say, I would almost say the bread. Like, I mean, that is the most sentimental. Unfortunately, I lost everything before I even started, so I don't have anything that I'm really...
Yeah, so it's a toss-up between the bread and the catnip, huh?
Yeah.
Simple guy.
Let's just...
Well, I have a French press for coffee, but I just haven't role-played it, so I don't think it's really fair to use that as...
It's the bread.
Yeah.
Your sweet Ruby's loaf of bread appears in his hands.
And I'll try to reach for it and grab it to see if there's another one of it, or if it's just like painted.
It's now painted into the image, and you probably don't know if it's your loaf of bread or not, because a loaf of bread's pretty light, and you probably wouldn't notice it if it were to go up missing from your inventory.
Yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as I see that, I'm gonna worriedly like look for my loaf.
And sure enough, it's gone.
And I'll meow like meow. Just a pathetic like meow.
At least it wasn't the catnip.
And I'll drop down here with Icky, dejected. Don't go up there, guys. It's not worth it.
What's wrong?
I don't know. I feel like this panel here made me feel really good, but then that guy stole my loaf of bread.
Oh, well, here, a piece, I take apart like half my loaf and I gave it to him.
Thanks, Icky. Man. Well, don't go up there, because who knows what it'll take from the rest of you.
What do you mean it took
I'm busy checking out
to
the
go there and get this bread?
I just point up at him, like, look, he's holding 3 scrolls and a piece of bread. It looks exactly like this loaf, except you see there where I broke off the piece for Dubon? That's the broken piece of my bread.
Can I do an Arcana check on this panel.
Sure.
Not gonna touch it, but curious. Well, today's not my day, folks. As a magical being, I'm just tapped out.
We're just like, this is really nice pictures.
Pretty much. I'm tapped out today.
Icky, down there at the bottom of the stairs, you see like this would really not fly on your engineering checklist if you were the architect of this place. A set of stairs that ended this big wide window that you could easily fall out of if you lost your footing. Outside is the wide open skies, of course. Are you wanting to look out?
Open the window?
What's that?
Can I push open the window?
Oh, there's nothing there. There's just open air, breeze coming in.
Oh.
Nothing to stop you from
Look
falling
out,
out.
see if there's anything outside.
Yes, you can. You're looking out from one side of this giant keep. I'll show you where you're at.
Ooh, hold on. I can't. There we go. And where am I? Like here?
You're looking out this window here. Yep, that's
There's
it.
no ledges or anything.
No, nothing but a straight drop.
And this is where we were the other day. Wasn't it? And that's where the imp went, was these holes in the wall.
Yep, I think those holes are called windows.
Yeah.
That's how windows work.
Yeah, you can see that one. It's hard to see the rest of the structure you're on, but you can definitely see that one tower jutting out there. Beautiful not stained glass, but beautiful glass windows. Some type of tall maiden statue up there in the bell at the top of the tower. Of course.
Yeah, and we had climbed up this one, and we were trying to get to like these rooms. I remember. All right, well, I described what I'm seeing to the other guys. It looks like the place where we're trying to follow that imp at, where we had scaled that tower.
Oh, do you want to try and like drop down and go through the window below? We got rope.
Yeah, if you want to die.
Grappling hook. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get this chest down and around.
Let's check to see if there's any hidden passageways over here or anything. If anything, we can go back where we came from.
Leo's like keeps on being obsessed with this wall here, and he's like, this guy and
Catnip in the
this.
wall.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is. I keep on seeing things like this panel and this panel seem to be holding up. Is that a map or something?
No, it's like a velvet curtain.
Oh. All right, never mind.
Why don't you touch it, Leo?
Nope.
Balthazar touched all of these panels when he was searching this area out for secret doors. Nothing happened to him.
I don't suppose anyone touched these ones, right?
I'm having not touching things.
Yeah, Icky comes running up.
And
We licked it.
would be like, look, you have to touch
I licked
it.
that one.
That's how it works.
I licked that one.
You really licked that one?
No, I don't. I go touch it though.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
I
I push on it to see if there's any false entries.
Yeah. Here's where I have to make a call. You guys, I think we should, maybe a court of peers is in order here. If you had to guess what Icky's alignment is, and Icky, don't say what your alignment is, what do you think it is?
What kind of neutral or chaos?
I say chaotic neutral.
I definitely.
You know what? Yeah, actually, yeah, that's logical.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing
He
happens.
was an agent of chaos.
Yeah, so Icky, you touch the panel and nothing happens.
Can I investigate it? See if anything freaking
Yes, you can.
there's false doors on any of these?
Sure. Nice, good
15?
roll. Nope. Nope, no
Any of
secret
these?
doors.
Well, I
Oh,
don't.
I'm stumped, guys.
Yeah, it seems like maybe we could always. Well, we can't always come back here, but those of you with a good memory, maybe this holds a clue to something. I have a feeling that these are the two Ozimus and the two previous rulers. Either that or the first one over here is the previous ruler, and maybe the giant has to do with overthrowing one to the other. Oh God, just the light over here, the darkness over here, just everything about this is like screaming symbolism. DM, curse you.
Leo, there is
Yeah.
light coming through these windows, and I point to the windows. So, of course,
Yes.
it's going to be lighter over here and darker.
Exactly. I mean, it looks like it was done on purpose, and that's exactly what I mean.
Leo, you're freaking out,
Like,
man.
with the stairs going down to an open
Drugs are
window.
bad for you.
Do you think any of this is done on purpose? There's stairs going down to an open window.
But that's exactly what I mean. Back into the past, it just, before the previous king, it just kind of peters out into the distance off and falls off a cliff because this place was brought out by a dream. Everything about it makes sense to me. His eyes are like really wide. Those like, his pupils are like just super round right
He
now.
looks like a catnip you gave him.
He's like holding on to his hat, like, I think if we could just stay here, I could figure it out. I know it. What's that thing? What is that?
I see steam coming out of his ears.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so you guys want to move on. He's like just really like obsessing and looking around, like
It's quite entertaining. I'll say that.
trying to be like, oh, the blue that they used here is the same as the blue that they used here, but this is a different blue.
DM. I'm
Yes.
going to use suggestion on Leopold.
Damn.
Alright. And I'm going to be like, I think you should. And by the way, this is innate spellcasting, so I don't have to use verbal or anything. So it's innate.
Wisdom.
Part of my abilities. And I tell him, maybe you should lay off the catnip a little while. And
Yeah.
let's go ahead and move on, buddy.
Sounds like a good idea. And he like puts it in his pocket. Like, can someone prestidigitate my hand, please?
Yes.
Thank you. And he'll start to like groom himself a little bit with the back of his hand and his face. Try to collect himself and feel not embarrassed.
Too late.
Yep.
Just give him a pat on the back as we walk through the portal, and like try and catch the other side of the chest as we keep walking.
Go. All right. Well, are we gonna push it out of this side? Does anyone remember what's on that side?
No.
Ambassador, do you remember what's on the other side of that door?
Let's see.
Staircase says that was zapping us.
A statue is trying to kill y'all.
Yeah. On
Oh,
the staircase.
Oh, the staircase.
I rolled the 82 to get to this room was a.
Well, if we don't remember, we have to roll, so that's what I was asking.
This is 304. Because this is where I got the
This
chest
is, yeah, 304, and the last one was 21. So 321.
Okay, roll a d100.
Oh, I forgot, DM. 321. This next room's 321.
What room is that,
He
though?
just wants you to roll.
Yeah, what room is that?
It's the one that with the statue is trying to kill him.
That was the statue that was trying to kill us.
Yeah, roll a d100.
We're wrong.
That was the statue that was trying to kill us. And then the next room's the one with the ring that used to be in there, but it ended up being a bat, or Leopold tried checking it out.
Incorrect.
Roll it up.
Who's rolling it?
Dang, y'all hovering around those 20s. Okay. Okay,
You
the
gotta
party
stop through the
walks into this room. This well-illuminated vaulted chamber is bare between its arched ceiling and inlaid floor. Below the hanging orb that radiates magic light, you see the floor holds an elaborate circular maze.
I avert my eyes. And I say, guys, I think it's a trap.
I stay on the edge.
Stay on the path. Just follow the path. Walk through the whole room.
Let's just get some tokens so we're no one's confused.
Damn.
Yeah.
That long jump into the middle.
Yes, you can try, but you haven't yet, so don't put your token there.
I'm instantly flying.
I'm like halfway inside this portal still. I don't like this room.
Yeah, I'm Scooby doing it with Leo.
God,
You're the first one in.
I think this is what killed my grandfather, guys. Nope. I don't know.
Curiosity?
Yeah. I don't think this is the one. I think this is a trap.
I'm flying.
Well, I never heard about curiosity killing the snakes, so.
Or the Balthazar.
Leo will like make a gesture like after you.
So, DM, can I long jump into the middle?
You can certainly try. It is it's a pretty big room, so the middle is, measure it from one side to the center. And I'm pretty sure the scale is pretty close to right.
10.
Yeah.
I got 10.
Yeah, from the side it's accurate. Yes, so 35 feet. That sounds about right. 35 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet at the, let's just call it 30 feet. That's probably about right.
What's your jump distance as a snake?
I don't know.
Please a snake with legs.
So,
Oh, man. I
as far as
gotta
I
look
can,
this
you
one
know.
up.
I think there's rulings for it, and if you wanted to jump longer, you can give me a d20. But I think it's based off strength. Not
So are you making the jump or not?
yes. Speed, travel pace, force of movement, mounts and vehicles. Special bonus. Jumping. Your strength determines how far you can jump. When you make a long jump, you cover a number of feet up to your strength score. When you make a standing long jump, you leave only half that distance. So my strength score is.
Okay. Let's say 8 feet.
If you want to hit me, if you want to hit me with a strength score.
No, you jump into it. You don't quite make it to the middle of the maze, and you just land somewhere randomly inside of it. And then at that moment, you feel a strange disorientation. Similar to the disorientation you might have felt when you first came here. When you first stepped through that portal in the tower to get to this place. But that's all that seems to happen, and then you're left standing there in the maze. What do you want to do after that?
Walk around, I guess.
Okay. Are you just walking? Yeah, you're not like following the maze. You're just crossing lines and walking around the room, right?
I'm following the maze as I walk in the room.
Okay. Do-do-do.
I still only have my head sticking through the portal, and I'm like shaking my head. It's a trap. It's a trap, I tell you.
Okay.
Just stay on the maze, Leo. It'll be fine.
Okay. Balthazar, make a DC 20 intelligence check.
No. This is gonna be a tough one. No.
Okay. You enter into the maze and begin following it. Of course, it's a maze, so it does have some different openings you can take. It's not like just a single circuit that you're stuck on to walk. Icky, if you're going to try to do the same thing and stay within the lines, you'll have to make a DC 20 intelligence check as well.
You know what? Sure. So it's clearly, this is now just straight intelligence.
Straight intelligence.
Oh, you said intelligence save, didn't you?
It's always concerning.
Okay. And Leo is, of course, just kind of halfway in the portal watching, and Aura has flown up into the vaulted ceiling with her magic wings, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Hey,
Do you guys can keep trying to walk the maze if you want to. Just make an intelligence check each round you do.
If we correlate with Aura, since she's seen like the full picture of everything, would she be able to use the help action? Basically telling us, hey, by the way, that side's blocked. You need to go another route. You know what I mean?
Can we get a blessing, a guidance, and
a guidance?
help?
I would have to fly down and touch you, but yes, as long as my feet don't touch the ground, I'm okay with that. So.
So is that all right, DM? She guides us and then directs us to.
She can give you magical guidance, but she cannot give you the help action. The path that you walk in the maze is your path alone.
Okay. Who'd you guidance?
Guidance is only for ability checks, not for saves.
Oh, are we doing a save or just an intelligence check?
It's just an intelligence check. So it should just be intelligence, but with your intelligence modifier added in.
Okay.
Which I think is the same thing as an intelligence save, but no, it's not because you can get bonuses to saves.
Yeah.
If you're not proficient, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and I'm sorry. You only get one of these saves. Okay, so you'll make a check every 2 rounds. That's right. Yeah. So, looks like Icky and Balthazar have both
I got my 20.
spent like 4 rounds now wandering around in the maze, kind of just shuffling their feet slowly along, heads down. Everyone can see them. And then...
from this point.
So Balthazar, you made another one, so you're going to go another couple more minutes trying to navigate the maze. Icky, are you going to keep this up?
Oh, he got this 20. DM.
What's that?
17 plus 3. He got us 20. 17 plus 3.
Oh, he did get his. Yeah, he did. I see that. Is that from the
That's why I haven't
guidance?
done it yet.
Or
Yes.
okay.
The +3's from the guidance.
Okay.
I don't know how he did that.
I have the bless thing set up, and it's the same thing as a save and guidance, or a check and guidance. So
Okay. Balthazar, you find yourself having walked to the middle of the maze. Nice. You solved it.
and I just kind of
Get trapped! Get out of there!
I will say again, you feel a strange disorientation, just like Icky felt when you first entered it. You feel a second disorientation when you reach the center,
And I saw that nothing happened, right?
but nothing happens.
So I just go to the middle.
It just cuts across,
But
walks
But you
straight
just
to the
cut
middle.
through?
Okay. Icky, you arrive with no strange feeling.
I don't know. Oh well. Let's go.
Back out
I
the way
just
you
start
came?
Walking out with my walking out with the chest.
Okay.
Except for when you get close to me, I say, but we're trapped.
Yeah, we're trapped now.
So now the room behind us is the slug room with a door that goes to the window.
DM, I'm just gonna, since we're trapped, since he said that, I'm just gonna spend my time just following the maze back to the door.
Okay.
Does that
You
make
can
sense?
make an intelligence check.
Come on. I hope I net 20 because that's when I want to get a 20. Damn.
Gonna have to keep going. You won't be out of it until you hit a 20. Hey, there you go. You find your way back out of the maze. So yeah, you guys can go from here back to. Oh yeah, I've already put you back to where you came from. Yeah, yeah, you are. You're stuck in a damn portal loop.
I mean, I say we just camp out until find our way back, unless you have a key somewhere.
We don't have a door.
Well, looks like we're camping out tonight, boys.
Yeah, let's go back to this painting room, and do we have time to search the room again?
You have all the time to search this room. We're stuck here.
Can he keep
There-
the?
Here's all my checks for every painting, DM. All of them. I'm gonna Arcana check them, investigate them, and do a perception check.
Okay. The entire wall, all three sections.
Yeah, all three sections.
Okay.
It's 25, a 12, and a 6. Arcana, investigation, perception.
All right.
Mostly looking for a way out of this one.
You
And I'm
will.
gonna check around here too.
You will come back to this far left panel and experience what Leo experienced when you touch that first figure. Well, nothing happens. When you touch the second figure, you will need to make a wisdom save on DC.
I wouldn't get anything out of the Arcana check
No.
before I touched it. God damn, a 25 Arcana check? Wisdom save, you said?
Yes. Okay. You get geezed to do no evil. You will have to change your alignment to chaotic good.
Is it permanent or is it temporary?
For now, it's permanent. If that makes any sense. It'll be like that for a while.
Okay. What's down here?
Are you gonna leave the other two panels alone?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Dropping down there and finishing out the investigation roll you made on that area reveals nothing.
All right. I guess I'll just wait my 24 hours.
Okay.
Take a long rest, even though I don't need one.
I'm gonna deep dive into my book.
What book have you got?
Balthazar was gonna push in and look at all the stuff on the right.
Sometime around midday, because y'all were still early in the morning, a pigeon lands on one of the upper windows and coos softly while you guys sit there. Leopold curled up in a ball. Aura's got her book out.
Breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Just try to spread some breadcrumbs around.
Give me some animal handling.
While I'm doing that, I whisper to the party. I think well, I'm not going to whisper. I whisper to the party that the pigeons were used for the doppelgangers. The doppelgangers used the pigeons for messaging.
The dove will fly down and eat at some of the breadcrumbs you give it.
I'll do my best to just see if it has a message tied to its leg or however they do it.
Yeah, it does not have a message tied to it.
I look at the party. Is meat back on the menu, boys?
Yeah.
Oh no. Wait, didn't we determine that the snakes were illusions?
No.
No, those
I have
are
6 regular snakes.
Oh, those were from the. That's right.
6 regular snakes.
That's right. That's right.
That I
I
made
forget about
friends
the
with.
snakes. Okay. You have 5 snakes. One of them got away somehow, maybe on your last night's rest. You really.
You never want me to have any fun, do you?
It's just one of those things where I have to keep in mind that you have 6 snakes on you, and you have 5 now. You still have snakes on you, but yes, they're diminishing in number. So you release the snakes, and they will probably try to get the dove, but I think the dove is faster and will fly out the window. Leo hits it with an eldritch blast on the way out and kills it. And it splunks into the wall and plops down onto the bottom step.
So did it have a note?
It did not.
I hope it has plenty of meat on it.
Later that afternoon, another pigeon will fly up to the window.
Is anyone still hungry? Can we see if it has a? Can we see if it has a note on its leg from this distance?
You can tell that it does not carry a note on it.
Leo's full, so he's not going to mess with it. He's just going to stay pretty still and let the bird do its thing.
Okay. And it'll probably just strut back and forth on that windowsill for a little while before it gets bored and flies away. And then finally, late in the day, when the sky is turning its deep blue and the clouds are reflecting the pink light of sunset somewhere off in the distance, a chicken wanders into the chamber through the portal and clucks its way around.
Now, meat is back on the menu.
Yeah, because I don't think a single pigeon probably fed more than everybody a few bites.
I was gonna say I have my good berries, so I'm covered.
Yes, I saw that earlier. Yes, good
Oh,
berries. And
Balthazar was gonna
You only need
start
one good
behind the,
berry, right?
Oh, nobody asked. They saw me eating them.
But you never offered.
Did you like one?
Yes.
Okay.
the chicken.
No,
Good
thank you. I
berries?
don't like chicken.
So, but these good berries are special in that they're more like the size of an apple as opposed to like an actual like berry.
Before we take our long rest, I'm going to hex this chicken, and I'm going to, boom, I'm gonna murder this chicken. No. I'm not gonna murder it.
It's
That's not excessive.
Slaughter the chicken humanely.
It's already roasted.
Hey, what, do the hex,
Non-lethal, non-lethally.
do the hex damage though.
I did. I
the
had.
hex damage out there.
It's on there. It's
I
on
see
there.
necrotic. It's necrotic. 24.
I give the
Lethally with a silver rapier. Lightning, thunder, and necrotic and piercing damage. Along with a sneak attack.
I give you a chicken. You can do with it what you will from here.
Nice. I'll start preparing it for the group. While the rest of the group does whatever they want to do.
All right.
You know, DM, I stick my head through the portal. See where the fuck the chicken came from.
Ah, yes.
I give him a couple handfuls of straw from my cloak to start a fire.
Give me a D100 roll, Icky. Ah, damn it. It just goes back to the stonecutter's room. Another dead end. Later on.
The stonecutter's room.
Yep, the giant. He's sleeping, by the way.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask the stonecutter. I'm gonna be like, hey, is this a picture of your dad up here? And I'm gonna be like, what was his name, DM?
Yeah. The stonecutter is snoring loudly when you poke your head in there.
It's not even night yet.
He lives in a dark
Really
cave.
wants
He
to
has
know
no
who's
idea what
dead.
time of day it is.
That's irrelevant.
I'm like, hey, is Warnock his name? Or is that his dad's name, DM?
That was his dad's name.
Warnock's son of Warnock.
He snores like very loudly, nearly deafening.
Okay, I'll let it go. Whatever. I'm done. I give up. I was just waiting for the door.
So,
I'll tell everybody else the stonecutter's in here if y'all want to go bother him.
I think he could eat me. Keep on roasting that chicken up.
Yeah. By the time the chicken is done and served, and I don't know where you guys come up with a fire from, but I'm assuming that you have the means somehow to roast a chicken.
Straw and the plant.
What'd you say?
I have the bucket we can break down.
I can just like prestidigitate it for like. I can prestidigitate it for like an hour.
No, that's totally gross.
Ew.
That's like
It's like using a heat lamp. It's fine.
That's like cooking it by slapping it.
Which is totally doesn't prove the word.
Hey, a guy did it. A guy slapped a chicken to the perfect temperature.
Yeah, but still gross. Yeah, I mean, I could break down the bucket. Somebody said that they were going to give a little piece of their cloak.
Oh, no, yeah. I have straw in my cloak.
Oh, straw? Sorry.
Okay. So you roast a chicken. I'm not going to speak to the quality of this roasted chicken, but nevertheless, it's some fresh meat, and some of you share it.
But I'm sure it's better than raw pigeon.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Aura is probably fine without eating.
I feel I'm great. I've learned to live like a druid.
Yeah. No chicken experiment for you.
No.
And by that time, it's dark outside, and this chamber is dark. As a matter of fact, only the light of the coals of down on the bottom of your half-burnt bucket, and the portal light illuminates the chamber now. The painting on the walls faded into the darkness.
Well, before we go to bed, Leo will try to. He's no bard, but he'll try to share a story of his homeworld when he was serving the air genasi before he got abandoned here. And as he's telling the story, you see his like whiskers twitching, and he's getting more aggravated. Then he kind of like kicks the ground. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get that guy one day, and my new genie ally is gonna help me."
That's right. Forgot he has a genie esque background to him before he came here.
Yep.
Air genocide. Did you ever decide where that world was?
Well, it's supposed to be the plane of. Wait, what kind of genie is it?
Air genocide can be just about anywhere.
Yeah, my map.
They normally hail from the plane of air.
Very, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say.
And then my warlock patron is Earth because he's the guy who's going to help me get revenge.
Okay.
If I survive.
That's the key.
Cool.
You got a genie buddy? I got a genie buddy too.
Yes.
I'm gonna entertain them with tales from when I was a star and all about the Kieran. So Aura was a star before she came to Earth, literally a part of the constellation.
Oh.
And,
Feywilds sound amazing.
Oh no! This is up there. She just kind of points up there.
Oh.
Oh, I was a star.
The real stars.
Like a star. Yeah, they're real. They're real.
Does she know which constellation she came from?
I'm calling it the scales, but in regular speak, it's Libra.
Yeah. You can.
It's the equivalent of.
You can point it out. That night, you can go to the steps and look up to the sky and search the sky out. Many of the constellations here seem strange. You've never seen them before, but you do find the scales in one corner of the starry night sky.
Yeah, I'll point out where there's a gap missing, in like a very obvious gap within the scales. Like they're still complete, but there's a
me-shaped
smaller
hole.
star that's missing.
Yeah, got it. Oh, what a party of fancy here. We have origins in the stars and the elemental plane of air. Is that what you're going with for Leo?
Sure. Yep. Sounds good.
Pocket dimension within the elemental plane of air? Maybe?
Yeah, I'm sure you wound up there somehow. I'm sure you didn't start off there.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
Leo said.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, with the magic fuka. Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. I wanted to do a roll real quick. I've decided I think I'm gonna handle this thing. I got some good use for an old book now. I just need to pull it out.
Aura, our previous companion, well, I never really traveled with him, but Penwall, he really loved the stars, and he had a gem that if you held it up to the light, it would project the constellations onto the wall. You should ask him about it next time you see him.
I should. I bet you I know a few personally.
All right, I don't want to make a quick roll. Oh boy, I have to roll another roll now.
Uh-oh.
Do you know? In case you haven't figured it out, I love random tables. I love them so much. When you pull the fuka back out, it's back into its ball shape again. It's a little bit elongated though, kind of pointy at the ends.
I'll be like, you all right, buddy?
It purrs gently.
Aww.
It's a cat.
No, Icky basically has a pigskin football in his hands.
Is that a living football? It's great. Oh, that's awesome.
I feel like I should look this up just to make sure I'm right on this. Because the other option is that it's actually a foot. And
A foot? Like someone's foot?
yeah.
It's a purring foot.
Well, that's what I'm looking up to make sure I'm right on.
I'd rather have a purring football.
Yeah, for a purring foot might be a little disturbing.
The whole thing is disturbing, but at least it's less.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I was just going to say it's a football for now.
It's a throwing football.
So Iggy's gonna set up the bear trap in front of the door before he passes out with his magic hookah
Ooh,
in his hand.
smart guy.
Nice. Great idea.
So y'all have already passed basically a long rest period by just spending the entire day doing nothing. So you're going to be going for your second long rest. Are you guys like laying down for a full night's sleep now?
Yes.
We're just waiting for that door to change.
Okay. Because it might not take all night for it to change.
Oh, well,
I'm a fan.
you check out periodically.
Okay. In that case, oh, yeah. Sometime into the night, you'll hear something fluttering around in the chamber. A small flapping of wings occasionally will cross overhead, back and forth. You might even hear it swoop by real close to your ear, startle you for a moment. Probably time to check that portal. Who wants to do it?
I think I rolled last.
No, I rolled last.
Oh. All right. 13.
Thank God we're out of the 20s and shit. Very cool.
Okay, tell me, so Leo, you look in through this portal, and then immediately, who is next behind you? Who's coming in behind Icky? I mean, Leo.
Which way are we coming from? Am I looking from the bottom into the picture, or am I looking from the portal into the picture?
You're looking out of this portal right here. You look out and you're like suspended hundreds of feet over the city below you, and your companion behind you is bumping into you at that moment. Who is it?
No. I'm gonna try to use all my acrobatic ability to like turn around and like claw my way back over them. Like climb over their shoulder if I have to.
Let's just do an old school surprise roll by second edition rules. So which would be a D10, and you want to add your dexterity modifier to the roll.
All right.
And you don't want to roll a 1, 2, or 3. So I think it might be impossible to surprise you because you're dead.
Yeah, I think it'll be impossible.
Okay, there you go. Okay, you're not caught surprised. You spin around and grab whoever's coming up behind you, which again was who?
Me.
It's Icky. So yeah, Leo's arms immediately spin back out of the portal to grab you. For a moment, you're kind of pulled towards him, and the two of you are sort of teetering off balance. Your head comes through the portal just enough to see what lies beyond.
Fall that way.
And you pull your friend back to safety.
Can I look out real quick?
Sure.
And how far away are we from here?
The span across it's by the way, like directly across is probably about right here. And I think it's something like, well, let me just see. I think the dimensions are given here. It's a 25-foot span between you and this tower wall. Right above and sort of out of frame in this picture, but like if you were to keep looking up this wall, you would see 2 windows. One on either side of this block of stone. So there's like one inside this tract of wall, and then there's another tract of wall over here. And there's a similar window to it. They're both very tall, arched Gothic windows.
Can I throw my grappling into
Okay. And so, meanwhile, the description is the soaring seagulls and sea winds greet you as you come to this high perch overlooking a great city below. A portal seemingly floating in midair looks across and above to twin windows on a high tower. Below, throngs of citizens in the streets seem to cheer at your presence.
So what do you want me to throw? Acrobatics, probably.
Yeah, to give me like a DC 7 acrobatics to throw the grappling hook across to the windowsill.
7. You don't do nat fails on skill checks. So I made it.
Okay. You anchor the grappling hook into the window, barely. It's like the spike isn't quite over the window, but it's really just like somehow it's grabbed a little pore in the surface of the window sill, but seems solid enough.
And then I have another set of rope, so I have 100 feet that I can tie to it.
Okay.
Because you said it was 50 foot of rope, silk rope, so I have another set of silk rope that I can tie to.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tie it off. I'm gonna tell guys, I'm like, hey, there's I got this grappling hook set. If y'all want to try to climb down.
Climb down? Climb down from where? And Bellstar stick his head through and say, why are we going down and not up? And where'd the city come from?
I have no idea. But they're cheering at us.
Are we even...
They must not have met you.
Are we even still in the... palace?
I don't know. We could have ascended.
Since it's been a long rest, I'm gonna fly if we're going down. I get that once per long rest.
Yeah, but it's only your movement speed, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I don't have to grapple down.
It'd only be 30 feet.
I mean, is this even part of the? Is this even part of the realm we're in? Is this an exit? Or are we in a regular place?
Well, we can always come back.
If we can make it back.
Tie off the rope.
I feel like we could get lost in a city this size.
And we're always lost.
Exactly.
A permanent state of being for y'all.
Not all who wander are lost. We just kind of know where we're going. We have a general mindset of where we want to go.
Right, but is this? These people could be outside of the jurisdiction of the king, and so all the goodwill and all of our. I mean, they're cheering for us probably because we're high and they want us to jump.
Oh, probably.
Who would want that?
But if we get down there and there's a different king, and
We can always come back to the portal.
I mean, if you think you can climb faster than a javelin.
Oh,
Maybe.
they seem to cheer at him hooking that anchor, that grappling hook into the window too.
Well, I mean, Icky hooked that grappling hook. I mean, I kind of think we should check it out.
You know what? Icky goes ahead and does it. DM.
Okay, now you're extended out from the wall, so for you to
Actually-
be against the wall, you're gonna have to like drop about 10 feet, and then you'll hit the wall as well.
Actually, DM,
yeah.
You said that I'm hooked into a window, right?
Up above. Yeah, imagine that you're looking, the view in this image is as if you were looking out of the window and looking down.
Okay.
So you've got a grappling
Okay.
hook anchored in the very foreground of this image.
Okay. I tie off, because if you go back, and I tie off the rope to the other window. And make
The
it a
other
tight
window is like over here somewhere on the other side of this big
No, I'm
chimney.
talking
Like,
about on our side of the portal.
oh, okay. Going back into the gallery room and tying the other end of the rope to that window.
Yes. And making it like a tight rope.
I see. I see.
And I'm going to climb across.
I got you.
into
Okay.
the
Yes.
window that I hooked into.
Yes, and that doesn't require you having to fall out of the portal and slam against the wall. So yeah, that's a much better idea. And I don't know about
And gets me way
tightrope
back.
walking. You want a hand over hand or tightrope walk?
It's gonna be like a hand over hand where I'm hanging,
Uh,
and my feet are crossed around it, and I'm kind of like inching forward.
Gotcha. Give me an athletics on 12.
Oh, athletics?
Yes.
You better have me plummet to my death.
Make a new character.
That's it. That's a fail. Um, okay.
Oh,
So you
I should
make your
never say
way
anything.
out, and you're kind of like, you're going up a slope because the window you're connected to is up above you, and so it's a little difficult, and you just like lose an ankle slips over the rope, and suddenly all your weight's on your arms, and one hand springs free, and then you're hanging by one hand, and you look back at your companions, and you reach out for them, and I don't think anybody can get to you. I think you're
I was gonna
like,
say I could fly to him pretty fast.
you could fly to him pretty fast.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
You fly out to grab him before he drops from the rope. I think
yeah.
you would just need to give me an athletics on how much does Icky weigh?
I think I weigh like 150. I think
It's not too
it's
heavy.
really light build.
Yeah. I think you could keep him
It's only
aloft on a
Yes.
DC 12 athletics.
Ugh.
Hey, he's alive!
Yes. Takes everything she's got. Her ghostly golden wings are heaving and swatting the air to keep him from falling because he couldn't have held on for much longer.
Why
And
are
you
you
can
so heavy?
fly him back to safety or fly him above to the windowsill. Your choice.
Fly me to the windowsill.
Make
That
roll.
is logical.
Okay. And you guys will find yourselves crawling into the windows of the dining hall, in the back of the dining hall.
Son of a
Remember
bitch.
back here.
Why are you
Who's
so
cheering
heavy?
for us?
What's that? You remember every time you've been in the dining hall, I've mentioned you can hear these cheering crowds outside?
I had no idea there were so many people living here.
Yeah, it doesn't even seem like it's the same place. Cause like this place has like land and shit. That weirds me out.
Of course, it is nighttime, and so the dining hall is empty. They have gone back to sleeping in their own chambers and quarters again.
Oh, Aura,
And-
can you make sure to grab that box of Balthazar's? Where we go get him?
Oh, and then everybody else will have to either get her to ferry them across or make the climb rolls themselves as well if they want to make their way from the portal.
Uppy. Bowser is like reaches up out of the portal and just goes uppy.
Wait, how much does Balthazar and Leo weigh?
Probably less than me.
100 pounds.
Leo can do it. It's acrobat.
Athletics.
Oh, no, uppy.
An athletics, not an acrobat.
Yep. Uppy.
Or Icky would have been a lot better off.
Well, it depends. If you're trying to tightrope walk, that actually would be acrobatics.
What?
I'll do it that way. I'll do it that way.
I would set
Tell me that.
the DC a little higher though if you're tightrope walking.
I rolled a 20. I know.
Yeah, that will definitely do it. If you're tightrope walking, shit, I guess I'd probably set it at like DC 15 for tightrope walking.
Yes, I will fly the satyr across as I'm just full on like.
Still would have lost it.
Woo!
How much does the satyr weigh?
100 pounds.
100 pounds?
Okay, he's
DC
light compared
DC
to-
9.
We're a light group.
Oh shit!
Oh
Oh wait, doesn't he have a? Oh shit! Someone have Featherfall.
I do.
No.
Which you can use as a reaction,
Yeah.
and you have it memorized as well.
I'm
Or
still
is it-
flying, so.
Yeah.
Or is it a
Do I
can?
drop him or do I fall with him?
Is it a cantrip these days? No, it's actually a
It's
spell.
not first level spell.
First level spell. Okay. All
Do I
right.
drop him or do I fall with him?
You just drop it. That's all.
Okay. That makes me feel
So-
better.
She drops me right as I start saying "we," and then I cast Featherfall and go "we."
Yeah. So let me jump back over here. What room were we in just then? Okay. Yes, right here. So Balthazar, you kind of swoosh, swoosh, swoosh your way down this enormously tall tower here. It is 120-foot drop from that portal down to the deck of that castle below. But that is where you finally fall to, with another rising cheer from the crowd. By the way, it is getting dark fast. The sun is like hyper speeding its way over the horizon, and this whole scene suddenly turns to night by the time Balthazar gets back to his feet again.
Any portals down there?
There is not any portals on that balcony that you can see. There is this one little corner of the balcony you haven't been around yet. There might be a portal hidden around on that side of the base of the tower. Do you want to go over there?
Definitely.
Okay. You slam into an invisible wall and cannot get around to peer around that.
You'd have
I'm
had
just gonna spider climb and walk up the wall.
Okay. That should work. And that puts everybody back in here.
Where it feels so bad. Like, absolutely feels like trash right now.
Don't worry about it. That's what we have Featherfall for.
I'm just hanging my head like, what kind of, oh! It's like full-on existential crisis mode because she feels so bad.
Back here in our central spot.
Cool. Well, let's call this a stopping point then.